If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agrishosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agris Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agrishosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agrishosting.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Ovaltine. Give your kids the nutrition they need to be their best. Visit us at ovaltineusa.com. Telling your child about healthy food choices is important, but showing her what to eat goes a lot further. Have her help create the grocery list, then bring her to the store with you. Picking out healthy foods together helps kids get in the habit of thinking about what they're eating every day. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Now that you've found the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM, you may want to help expose others to our great programs. To assist you in doing so, you'll find resources at promote.lrn.fm, including details on how to get a free bumper sticker, quarter-page flyers you can print out and distribute, banners for your website, as well as files that will allow you to make your own custom banners and graphics. Visit promote.lrn.fm and help bring new listeners to the Liberty Radio Network. That's promote.lrn.fm. You're 6 minutes away from a live episode of Free Talk Live, brought to you by freekeen.com. Listen live at freetalklive.com.
Temporarily from Concord in the Shire, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, November 7th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.68 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,232 per ounce. Zen is trading at $15, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,532. Antiwar.com reports as Saudi-backed forces continue attacks across Yemen, the Saudi military is trying to support them with airstrikes and artillery fire. As has so often been the case over the course of this war, Saudi strikes hit civilian targets, killing at least 5. The larger of the two attacks took place in the northern Sada province, where Saudi-backed forces tried to cross the border, and Saudi forces fired rockets and mortars against the border towns. 3 civilians were killed in Tal Hayden village, and 2 more were wounded. Meanwhile, in the aid port of Hodeidah, an airstrike hit and destroyed a civilian home in the evening, killing a man and his wife, according to hospital officials. Their 10-year-old child was wounded but expected to survive. Saudi officials have not addressed either attack nor the civilian casualties inflicted. Neither appears to have had any military purpose, though both were carried out vaguely in the vicinity of combat.
Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They're working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform. The unique spelling of Horizon is a nod to their heritage and recognizes that they remain committed to the vision that their project was built upon. Their coin and ticker symbol remain ZEN. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community. HORIZEN.global.
Reuters reports the Girl Scouts of the United States of America filed a trademark infringement lawsuit against the Boy Scouts of America on Tuesday after the Boy Scouts decided to drop the word boy from its namesake program and started welcoming girls. The lawsuit in Manhattan federal court is an attempt by the Girl Scouts, founded in 1912, to avert an erosion of its brand and membership as the Boy Scouts, founded 2 years earlier, tries to reverse its own decades-long membership decline. It was filed after the Boy Scouts, which accepts children 11 to 17 years old, said in May it would change its name to Scouts BSA in February 2019 and make girls eligible to earn its highest rank, Eagle Scout. The Boy Scouts said in a statement it was reviewing the lawsuit, adding, "We applaud every organization that builds character and leadership in children, including the Girl Scouts of the USA, and believe that there is an opportunity for both organizations to serve girls and boys in our communities." Based in Irving, Texas, the Boy Scouts recently had about 2.28 million members, less than half its peak in the 1970s, while the Girl Scouts, based in Manhattan, said it has about 2 million members. In the complaint, the Girl Scouts said the Boy Scouts have no monopoly over the use of the word scouts and scouting when it offers services to girls. It also said the name change threatens to marginalize Girl Scouts activities and has already sown confusion with families, schools, and communities nationwide being told the organization no longer exists or has merged with the Boy Scouts. The complaint says only GSUSA has the right to use the Girl Scouts and Scouts trademark with leadership development services for girls, and the Boy Scouts infringements are new and uniquely damaging to GSUSA. The Boy Scouts had said its rebranding was part of a single name approach it adopted when it decided in October 2017 to let girls enroll in the Cub Scouts program for children 7 to 10 years old. It has also launched a Scout Me In campaign featuring both boys and girls.
You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com.
UPI reports the Democratic Party was projected to take control of the U.S. House of Representatives while Republicans maintain control in the Senate in Tuesday's midterm elections. Democrats secured more than a dozen seats and were expected to pick up more than needed to have a majority in the lower chamber, according to projections from NBC News and CNN. House Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi said Tuesday's votes represented a new day in America. She promised accountability and bipartisanship in the Democratic-led House. President Donald Trump called Election Day a tremendous success on Twitter. Heading into the election, Republicans controlled the Senate with 51 seats. Republicans built on their slim Senate majority by several seats and ousted 4 incumbent Democrats. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Are you a helpless moron perplexed by the world? Wish there was a device that enabled you to consult the Onion Book of Known Knowledge anytime, anywhere? Then you need the Book Bjorn, the amazing new wearable invention that makes you and the Onion Book of Known Knowledge inseparable. Never again be stumped by the panoply of bizarre objects filling your field of vision. Never take it off. Never be without it. All this for just 4 easy payments of $39.93. The Book Bjorn. The Book Bjorn. And if you call now, you'll receive the special page-turning wand. Turn pages with the greatest of ease. The special reading light to wrench knowledge from utter darkness. The book umbrella to protect the Onion Book of Known Knowledge's precious pages from the elements. Book Bjorn. This $800 value can be yours today. Send a check or money order to the Book Bjorn, care of the Zwiebel Center for Knowledge Studies, 15 Zwiebel Way, Macau, China. Do not hesitate. Buy now. The Book Bjorn.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. You can dial in toll free. You can take control of the airwaves here and bring up anything that happens to be on your mind. The toll free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Also, we've got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms. Just head over to discord.lrn.fm. You'll find those rooms right there at the top of our list of various different chat rooms in which you can chat with other Free Talk Live listeners. But during the show, you can use the on-air call-in line rooms to get on the air with us. And the us tonight is me, Ian.
And Conan.
And Darryl.
Darryl, back from New York City.
New York City.
Just in time. Were you muting yourself as you said New York City, Conan?
Because I burped right before it.
Okay. I was checking my mic over here to make sure I didn't have you muted. You back from New York City. You went to the New York Marathon. You got back just in time for the election.
Yes.
Here yesterday, and you finished said marathon.
Yes, I did, with a personal record of 4:28:22. So I shaved off almost 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's
4 minutes 59 seconds off of my previous marathon.
That's
time.
a good question. You've been doing this for what, a year and a half now? 2 years?
Year and a half roughly is when I did the first half marathon.
How many of these bad boys have you just decided you just couldn't do? You stopped halfway.
He's done them all.
You've done them all, right?
I do not have any DNFs.
Is that what they're called? Did not
finish.
did not complete DNCs?
It's a DNF.
All right.
We're going to get into the election here in a moment, but I know that you were raising money successfully.
Yes.
As sort of like as a charitable donation along with this.
Yeah, for people that aren't aware, there are several different ways that one can get into some of these really big, what are referred to as the major marathons. There are 6 majors. There's New York, Chicago, Boston, Berlin, London, and Tokyo.
Yeah.
Various ways to get in. So you can either be like an elite or sub-elite athlete, meaning that you run really fast and you qualify based on previous marathon times.
Okay.
That's not me. Some of them have what are referred to as either lotteries or entry ballots to where you put in, and I would like to run, and then
and you did, and they didn't pick you.
Right. They have a select number of entry spots. I was not successful in getting a ballot entry into New York. There's also, for people that live in New York, they can do something called a 9+1 program where they run 9 other races put on by New York Roadrunners, and then they either volunteer for one race or they donate $1,000.
Okay.
For non-Americans, they can do what's called the International Travel Partner, where they buy a package that includes entry into a race. Or for Americans, and some international runners will also get in as charity runners. And
which is what you did.
Right. That's what I did for New York. It's what I'm doing for Chicago next year. For New York, got on Team Innocence Project. And
which was how many people on the team?
I think it was 6. There was
Do you all start running together, or you just sort of randomly in wherever it is they put you?
Yeah, so it's in whatever wave assignment that we have, and they have...
Did you meet the other people at all?
I met them at the pre-race lunch the day before.
I see, okay.
Where the Innocence Project had all of the runners come together. Runners were able to bring family, but the Innocence Project bought lunch for us.
That's nice.
Yeah, very nice. Anybody that tagged along...
you also raised $5 grand for
right. Anybody that tagged along would have had to have paid for their own food.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, very nice lunch. Very nice chatting with all of the other runners. Couple of people that work for the Innocence Project
that's cool.
were there. And yeah, the minimum threshold set by New York Roadrunners for the Innocence Project was $3,500. I wanted to raise per runner.
Yeah.
I wanted to raise $5,000, and I'm currently at $5,025.
All right, you made your goal.
I did make the goal, and people can still donate through the end of the month.
How many donators roughly did you, or exactly, depending if you know?
Well,
did you
I don't remember off the top of my head, but if I go to run.freetalklive.com, it will tell me on there,
which is your donation site,
how many donors there were to the thing, and it's opening up very slowly.
There was some matching donations that came in.
There were some matching. 58 donations in total came in. $5,025.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And does that account like cryptocurrency donations, if you got any of those?
Any crypto that came to me, I then made the contribution.
The equivalent cash contribution?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And the race itself was an amazing event. World record number of finishers, 52,000. Wow. I think it was 809, 709,
That's
somewhere.
a lot of people.
Yeah. Again, record turnout for runners. 99.4% of the runners that started the race finished the race.
Wow.
Which is unusually high.
Wow, that's amazing.
Especially for that size.
Of course, these are like real pros, right? Like these are the people who are serious. They're training. This isn't just some sort of one-off for most of these guys.
For some people, it is.
Really?
But then there's always things that happen. There was one runner that sadly wound up having a heart attack during the race.
Out of 50,000 people, there's a chance something like that's going to happen.
And luckily, there was a
probably
doctor.
A young guy too, right?
I don't remember the age. It was a woman.
Wow, a woman with a heart attack. That is unusual.
Luckily, there was a doctor not too far behind.
A runner doctor.
Yes.
Yeah.
A doctor that was running.
Yeah.
He stopped running to administer CPR
Wow.
And yeah, she wound up surviving. Last report I saw, she was in stable condition. So there's one of the people that got a DNF, but things happen. People wind up getting hurt. 2 million people turned out to watch the race. Wow. 10,000 volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a lot of water
Speaking
tables.
of hard on the body, heart attacks and whatnot, have you looked, because you do a lot of running these days, have you looked into keeping a balance on your, for your body's sake? I know you've.
What do you mean a balance?
Well, I mean, you can overdo it. You can you can burn your heart down. You can wear your bones down, especially your leg bones.
Right. So earlier this year, I was having a little bit of hip pain. Wasn't sure what it was. Adjusted my training, and the pain went away. So yes, if I wind up feeling, hey, something's not right here.
Well, I mean, things like heart attacks, you don't necessarily feel them until they break.
Right.
Well, I mean, there's no guarantee that anything's
right up on you.
Yeah, you can live a sedentary life, you can have a heart attack. You can live an active life, you can have a heart attack.
Right.
I mean, really, I don't know if one lifestyle or the other is necessarily going to make things worse on you.
I think hardcore athletes don't necessarily live longer than the rest of us.
No, I don't know if there's any evidence for that.
In fact, they really do actually.
George
But there's
Burns
no
lived till
evidence
100.
that they wind up having heart attacks at higher rates either, which is what you seem to be implying. If you go running, you're going to have a heart attack.
There's definitely some. I've heard that if you do a lot of running, that could do some kind of wear and tear on you. That's why people
on the
recommend
joints.
that they recommend if you want to get exercise and you don't want to do running, you can just walk, and then it's less weary and teary, and you still get the some level of cardio.
But there are running injuries that happen. People get stress fractures
all the time.
Things happen, but. No, I'm being careful if that's the question.
It's just, risks come with a game, right?
Yeah.
So
that's the thing. He's playing a game. I mean, you don't necessarily have to play the game.
No, you don't. And most people don't. That's why 2 million people watched the race while 50,000 people ran it.
But the other end of the perspective is not playing the game at all. And you end up 300 pounds and you die at 48 from a cardiovascular.
3.5 years ago, I was over 300 pounds.
And that's what I mean. But I'm only asking that have you found the balance, a healthy balance?
Oh, so are you asking if I'm going to stop running and not be fat?
No.
I'm not sure I understand your question. I would love to do the Badwater 135 in a couple of years.
He is definitely not balanced as far as he's running constantly all the time, but that's what he's into. So hey,
that's all I ever hear about. So I don't know.
More power to him. Hey, we got more coming up here.
Politicking.
Jeff Sessions apparently has been fired. I got that news just before the show.
Yep.
We got to talk about the election as well because, there are things to say about it, and especially how the Libertarians did. It's Free Talk Live.
This November, I'm running the New York City Marathon as a member of Team Innocence Project because I'm a passionate supporter of their work. 2018 has been a banner year for the Innocence Project. Since January, 9 of their clients have walked free. Innocent people who combined to serve more than 200 years in prison for crimes they did not commit. And because of the Innocence Project, the risk of being wrongfully convicted has been greatly reduced for millions of people. October 2nd is International Wrongful Conviction Day. It's an opportunity to draw attention to the countless innocent men and women who remain behind bars and the need to reform our broken criminal justice system to prevent wrongful convictions. At any given time, the Innocence Project represents 200 clients who need their help to prove their innocence. This year, the Innocence Project helped pass a first-in-the-nation prosecutorial oversight law in New York and eyewitness identification reforms in New Hampshire and Louisiana. You can help the Innocence Project by going to run.freetalklive.com. That's run.freetalklive.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
Your property and your family are precious. Protect them with Blink, like we have. Blink motion-activated HD cameras are wire-free, set up fast, and their batteries last up to 2 years. And Blink's live feed option lets you monitor what's happening at home anytime, anywhere from your smartphone. No contracts, no subscriptions, and Blink works with Alexa. You can get 3 Blink cameras for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live, inviting you to join us here. Post-election, we're going to get into a recap, some highlights, some lowlights of the Libertarians, specifically how they did. Your calls and thoughts are also welcome. Plus, Jeff Sessions apparently fired.
He's out of there.
So that's some good news. Whether or not they're going to replace him with somebody worse remains to be seen.
Probably just as swampy.
Yeah, but with you in the studio tonight, by the way, you've got Ian.
And Conan.
And Darryl.
Hey, if you're into operating a retail establishment, maybe you're a manager, maybe you're an owner of a retail business, and you want to accept cryptocurrency, then I've got good news for you. The folks over at AnyPay have made it as about easy as you can. For whatever the state of the art is right now, I think AnyPay qualifies because it is super easy to set up. You just go to anypay.global. Create your username and password. There's no login. There's no application form. There's just create the username and password, and you're in. There's no approval process. You're in. You set your cryptocurrency wallet addresses in the back end of the system in the settings page, and then you just go load the app onto whichever device is at your point of sale. That's it. You're done. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin, BTC, or Dash. There's also Zcash and Zen, and there's more coming on the way. So we'll let you know when that happens. Go to anypay.global, but it's working now and it works great. Anypay.global as we go to your calls and thoughts here. Let's start out with Tom in New Hampshire. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Tom.
Yeah. Hello.
Hey, you're on the air.
I can't hear you.
Oh, I don't know why that would be. There may be.
I can't hear you.
Okay. Well, we'll just put you back on hold then until the board operator can figure out why that is. Usually it means there's a button that's not pushed properly on somebody's end, and I suspect it's there. So we'll try you back here in a little bit, Tom. Let's go, meanwhile, to Red Monkey on the line, calling us from the U.S. Air Force in the Pacific. Red Monkey, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yes, that's right. What is your opinion on voting? Is it a practical way on changing the system, or is it a waste of time?
Voting or boating?
Voting.
Okay. I figured since you're in the middle of the ocean, you might want to know our thoughts on boats as well.
All right, Darryl. Well, thoughts on voting? As somebody who just ran for office.
Yeah, it's a thing that happens, and it's in the U.S., quote unquote democracy, even though some people like to say we're not supposed to be a democracy. But what actually happens is a plurality of people on a given day wind up getting to enforce to the majority, who is going to wind up supposedly representing them in various legislative bodies, and then the representatives do a very poor job of representing anybody other than themselves. So the entire system is kind of corrupt, but luckily here in New Hampshire, we did have a couple of constitutional amendments that passed overwhelmingly.
80+%.
Both with over 80%. One adds in a constitutional right to privacy, and the other says that every taxpayer has standing for purposes of suing municipal, county, or state government.
Even though I heard that one person didn't even see them, and so skipped them, never voted on them, period.
That was me.
And then someone just couldn't. The first paragraph was so long, he just decided just to vote no.
Yeah, I don't blame him. I mean, I think that's probably why I didn't even see it, just because it was such a wall of text down at the bottom.
Yeah, it was just black.
I didn't even it didn't register, and I knew there were those.
Right.
I knew they were going to be there
because I told you about them.
No, but beyond you telling them, I mean, I've seen the voters' guides, I've seen the sample ballots and such. I mean, we discussed it on the radio with Laurel on Sunday night.
Yeah, I actually was doing my recap. I was going back through and making sure I checked everything correctly.
Yep.
And then I realized, oh, crap. Look at this stuff at the bottom.
So you almost missed it.
I almost missed them. Yeah. So I understand exactly what happened. As far as my consideration on the whole voting process, I'm okay with it, as long as I can opt out at the end.
Right.
So
but
when
that's
everyone,
not the current
when you two guys decide that you want to order pizza this evening, and I don't want pizza.
We're not ordering pizza. We got spaghetti.
So as long as you guys have decided to get spaghetti for this evening's festivities, and I decide that I don't want because I've already eaten this evening, I don't expect that I have to pay towards your guys' dinner.
Right. The only time you would have to do that is if you've already agreed in advance to be obligated to whatever the votes
are.
I
haven't. I haven't signed that social contract, and so I am against what we had to do yesterday. I voted in self-defense.
Right. So to answer the question, I have no objection to somebody participating in a vote. I think that ultimately it is not consent. I know that there's certain people who are anti-voting who try to argue that, well, if you vote, it just means you agree with the system.
Yep.
No, that's not what it means. It means that it's one of the few, and it's a pathetic tool, but it's one of the few tools that you actually have to try to have some kind of an influence on this horrifying, violent governmental system that we have that is foisted upon us, whether we like it or not, whether we tell the government, hey, I'm over here and I don't want to participate. Thanks very much. Have a nice day. Well, they just keep forcing themselves on you. So if the one thing that they let you do is play this stupid little game, which is ultimately all it is, because I didn't vote in this, in the what is it? The ballot. They're not initiatives, but the ballot measures,
right?
The constitutional measures. And you know what? It didn't make a difference. It didn't make a difference that I didn't vote in those races. In fact, most races, my vote wouldn't have made much of a difference at all, if any. I think there was one race where somebody lost by 4 votes, so that would have been one where it probably would have been important to vote. But either way, generally it doesn't really matter. And of course, they would point out, I think somebody would rightfully point out, that if voting really mattered, they'd make it illegal.
Yeah, this is nothing more than bread, circuses, and I'm going to add a third, voting. This is just keeping everyone fighting with each other, constantly bickering over things that don't really matter.
Yeah, I don't feel strongly about it.
Meanwhile, the people who are really pulling the strings are getting away with bloody murder.
I don't get mad if somebody doesn't vote. I don't feel strongly enough either way about it. I'm willing to do it just because, it's a game. And
it is. It's absolutely a game. Listening to these knuckleheads talking about it on the local radio here, they sound just like they're talking about their sports teams.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we
won.
We won. We didn't win. We lost. We'll come back in 2 years. Blah 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 blah.
Somebody posted one of those comments in the Twitch chat last night at 12:35 in the morning. Victory is ours. I told you guys, we won the U.S. House majority. Victory is ours. Yeah. Democrats going to take down Trump's agenda and corruption of Trump taxes.
Yeah, we didn't. We didn't win crap.
Hold on. There's so many things wrong with.
Let's not get into it. We've still got Red Monkey.
Yeah, I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah, let's just. So Red Monkey, there's 3 answers for you. What do you think?
Okay, yeah, there's a lot of good and bad arguments on both sides. I think if voting is a bad thing, as in electing a ruler to rule over you, then it kind of defeats the whole purpose of the Free State Project.
If voting is bad, it defeats the idea of political migration?
The idea of moving everyone to New Hampshire is to try to change the system through democratic process.
Technically, that was the idea behind the Free State Project. However, if you could move enough people to one area, you could change things in a variety of different ways.
Right. The statement of intent doesn't mention the democratic process. It just says fullest practical effort to create a society.
That was the intention of the founder, though, was that people would get involved in the political process.
Right.
I mean, that's true. But as far as, and if you want, you can stay, Red Monkey. If not, thank you for the call, because I think it's an interesting conversation. I'd like to know, how you feel. If you want to join us, you can. Our number here is 855-450-FREE, 855-450-3733.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Slingbow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug-out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of Slingbow, a new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Mother's Milk, a miracle elixir. GodSaidManSaid.com. Hauntings, dead spirits, and ghosts. Noah's Ark, fact or fiction. GodSaidManSaid.com. Sex superbug. Kiss panic attacks goodbye. Unlock your Holy Ghost pharmacy. GodSaidManSaid.com. Y chromosome Adam and mtDNA Eve. 21 signs of doomsday in the chip. Hours of text and streaming audio. GodSaidManSaid.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
According to a new report, the vast majority of Americans simply want to be safe, happy, rich, comfortable, entertained, thin, and romantically fulfilled. The Onion spoke to a few of the survey's respondents who also claimed they want to be healthy, fulfilled, and successful and energized at all times.
All I want is a low-stress job, a nice house, affordable health care, and low gas prices, you know? It'd be nice to have a 35-hour work week, delicious food that's actually good for me, strong friendships, and free high-speed Wi-Fi wherever I go.
I think I'm entitled to wealth, love, cheap education, a fair legal process.
According to the survey, 63% of all Americans want their summers to be hot but not too hot. 85% want the government to stop all wars, end world hunger, and make quick and easy weight loss possible. 93% want to be emotionally satisfied, plus a soulmate, unconditional love from their parents, and a big happy dog.
This is the Onion News Network.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial on in toll free. Join us here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Also, the Discord on-air call-in line rooms. By the way, those are available to you, and well, there's actually only one that's available at the moment. We've got 4 rooms there, and there's a bunch of people that want to talk through Discord tonight. You know what? You sound better if you're on Discord, so hop on in there over at discord.lrn.fm. It's Ian, Conan, and Darryl in the studio tonight. We got to get into some of the news from the election. Also, Jeff Sessions apparently fired in the federal government by Donald Trump. We'll tell you more about all that. Coming up here, of course, your calls come first. Once again, the toll-free number, 855-450-FREE. And you can join the Discord over at discord.lrn.fm. Coming up February 14th through the 17th, that's coming up fast. We're talking about 3 months now, basically, at this point, until Anarchapulco, which will be the biggest names in the liberty movement. And I don't say that lightly. Ron Paul is going to be speaking at Anarchapulco. Judge Napolitano will be speaking there for the first time. And others, including Doug Casey, Cynthia McKinney, who, believe it or not, she's actually an anarchist now. We interviewed her at this year's Anarchapulco, as well as the president of Liberland, who you apparently were waving their flag at the very end of the marathon. Vit Jedlicka is going to be there. David Icke actually is going to be there as well. So there's many more, I'm sure, to be announced. Go to anarchapulco.com. In fact, it was recently, I don't know if it was, I guess we broke the news. Our very own Mark Edge is going to be the MC of the Cryptopulco stage, because they're going to have different stages at this particular version of the show. So it'll be a lot of fun. Of course, Free Talk Live will be broadcasting from the event, and I'll look forward to seeing you there. Hopefully you'll be attending, because you can get 15% off by going to anarchapulco.com and using code FTL, like Free Talk Live. Anarchapulco.com with code FTL to save 15%. As we get back to the phones here, we still have Red Monkey on the line. You'd called in about, you're on the Discord lines, you'd called in about the question of voting, and I don't recall exactly what you had said about your opinion about it, Red Monkey.
My opinion is that we should use whatever means we have available to reduce the size of government.
Yeah. So let me ask this question, because you had mentioned the Free State Project, and a lot of people that moved to New Hampshire for that purpose have decided that it's, quote, best for liberty to become Republicans and then wind up badly losing elections. Some people do wind up getting elected.
A lot of people got elected, actually, as Republicans. In fact, this was going to be one of the questions I was going to ask tonight when we talked about the Libertarians and their voting results. We're going to get into that later. I don't know if we want to get deep into it right now, because we do have other folks on the line.
Right, but former president of the Free State Project, Carly Garrick, ran as a Republican and lost badly.
She did.
She thought that she would wind up winning because she had 2 ballot lines, because she wound up getting fusion with the Libertarian. And
I don't think she did any better at all than she did last time.
I don't think she did at all.
Maybe even a little bit, didn't do it quite as well. Maybe a couple points not as good this time around. But she was up against an incumbent, a longtime incumbent, in a Democratic district, as I understand it.
Yep. There was a former state rep that elected as a Republican. He had moved out of his district, and he decided to run for an open Senate seat that had previously been held by a Republican, and he wound up losing pretty badly.
And who is this?
Dan Hines.
Dan Hines, okay. How did he end up losing badly? Last I looked, he had like 47%. That's pretty good. I mean, that's not a huge walloping or anything like that.
Right, but it's also not losing by half a point.
Yeah, sure. I'll give you that.
Yeah, when you lose by 3 or 4%, that's pretty bad.
I'm not gonna
It's
say
not
that's pretty
horrible.
bad. I would say 10%, then you're getting your butt whooped. 3 to 4%. The whole night, they were actually going back and forth. It was his opponent was winning at first, then he was winning after a couple more precincts were cataloged, and then it switched back to his opponent winning. So that was I saw that wasn't a neck and neck.
The Republican Party in New Hampshire recently, instead of actually voting to amend their platform to not say marriage is one man and one woman, they wound up just dismissing the convention and motion to adjourn, overrules all other motions. Motion to adjourn, they didn't vote on anything. So I have no use for the Republican Party.
I don't blame
and
you.
anybody that suggests, join the Republican Party. Just, leave me alone.
Yeah, so we can get into that a little bit later on here, but Red Monkey, I've heard the critiques. You said there were good arguments on both sides. I want you to pick one of the supposed good arguments against voting, because I'd like to hear it.
One of the arguments is that it legitimizes the system of oppression.
Okay, obviously not true. This is something that
if you vote into it, you in a way like legitimize.
There are also people that say that if you step onto a sidewalk, you legitimize the government because you didn't, use a private
It's the
sidewalk.
same argument, basically.
And the whole thing, and Ian, you had mentioned, there's the claim that if you vote, you consent to everything that happens.
That's another variant on this.
But those same people will admit that consent can be withdrawn. If you wind up entering into a business contract with somebody, you can, leave that contract. If you get married, you can leave that relationship. Consent can be withdrawn, but for some reason, because I wrote none of the above on my ballot for a couple of offices, I all of a sudden, consent to every horrible thing that happens.
Yeah.
And it's my fault. I actually had somebody, one of these non-voting people, tell me that it was my fault that Barack Obama drone bombed 7 different countries. Had I just stayed home and not voted, then he never would have bombed anybody.
Yeah, that's the George Carlin theory, that if, it is in fact your fault, voters, that we had to put up with all this nonsense.
Even though I didn't vote for any of them
It's not the people who stayed home. It's not the people who voted for the freedom candidates. It's the people who voted, these knuckleheads in office.
You looked in the direction of a ballot. Therefore, your fault.
Yeah. So, I mean, this idea that voting is consent or voting lends legitimacy to the system, it's clearly false. And the reason why is because, well, first of all, it's not consent. You didn't write anywhere. There's nothing written anywhere that by voting you're consenting. You can vote, as Conan pointed out, in self-defense because these people are dangerous. And, if you have somebody who's less dangerous with which you can put that vote, then
or NOTA.
Right. Then that's an act of self-defense. But beyond that, the claim that it legitimizes the system is also clearly false, and all you have to do to prove it is look at the elections where there are no votes cast, and these do happen from time to time, where even the candidates themselves do not bother voting in the election in which they are running.
We covered a school board election like that in Roswell, New Mexico a couple of years ago.
Yep, there's been a few of them here and there.
And
city council.
You know what
small
happened?
Towns.
The 2/3 of the school board that wasn't up for election wound up appointing the 3 people that were running to the 3 vacancies.
Right. And you know what else happens is the people who didn't vote, they still paid their taxes. When tax time came, whether it be property tax or state income tax or business tax or whatever it is, they paid them. Now, if you want to talk about legitimizing the system, that's the number one way to do it, is do whatever it is they tell you. So obey all the regulations, or at least try to make it look like you are, and pay all the taxes they're demanding of you. As long as you keep doing those two things, people, those of you who are out there talking trash about voters, those of you anti-voting people, as long as you still have taxes you're paying and regulations you're obeying, you are part of the problem. You're the reason why the government continues the way it is, because even if everybody voted, if people stopped obeying and people stopped paying into the system, it would crumble. If 10% of the people stopped obeying and paying, it would have a very difficult time. The system cannot handle widespread non-cooperation. So whenever somebody starts to mouth off and act all high and mighty about how I don't vote because I don't consent and I don't want to legitimize things. Well, ask them if they pay taxes.
Paying taxes legitimizes
Thanks for the call, Red Monkey. Appreciate the discussion. The toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Ultimately, the government is built on your obedience. Whether or not it's built on consent is another question, but it's definitely built on obedience. And if you can stop people from obeying, even in small numbers, it can have a major effect. There's more coming up. It's Free Talk Live.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Bags under the eyes, crow's feet, fine lines and wrinkles are things adults complain about as they age. Now there's Instantly Ageless. It works in minutes and is great for men and women.
I've probably noticed in the past 5 years that my eyes have gained a lot of fine lines, wrinkles, my crow's feet have gotten deeper. Wow, I was hoping for 5 years, but that's like what my eyes looked like 10 years ago.
That is really cool. Wrinkle gone?
It's easy, just put it on your finger and go. Now I wish I had more down here because I can still see one wrinkle. It's bugging me.
I am a little bit emotional. Turning 40, I didn't think would be a big deal to me, but that looks like the me that I feel like inside instead of what I see when I look in the mirror.
Try Instantly Ageless today at GCNlife.com. That's GCNlife.com. 30-day money-back guarantee and preferred price discount at GCNlife.com. That's GCNlife.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippie! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Yeah, it's Free Talk Live. You dial in toll free and bring up whatever you want. The number here is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms. They've been busy tonight. You can join those over on our Discord server over at discord.lrn.fm. By the way, thanks going out to Doug, who's a Free Talk Live Platinum Amplifier. That means Doug gives $25 a month to the Free Talk Live AMP program. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. Simple idea. You send in, what we ask is $5. He's doing 25. You don't have to do that. We ask for 5. You send in $5 a month, and then we will invest that into the show to advertise, market, and promote Free Talk Live to help us get on new radio stations around the country, bring new internet listeners on board. And so if you like the fact that we're on 194 radio stations, coast to coast and beyond here in the United States, plus Guam, and if you like that, well, we can do more. We can hit 300. That's possible. In fact, hopefully we're going to hit 2 very, very soon. And a lot of this growth is possible because of listeners like you backing us up via the AMP program. And, of course, you get some cool perks. You'll get access to the special AMP-only call-in lines, the AMP-only podcast. You get special supporters chat rooms on our Discord server. You get access to the Facebook group for amplifiers if you're still into Facebook. And I think there's still some activity there. It's probably still pretty busy, Darryl. You're in there, I guess, often enough, right? People still chatting on Facebook?
I am in there occasionally.
Well, you're in there more often than I am. I quit Facebook, so I'm never in there anymore. But anyway, you get all access to those things. So go to amp.freetalklive.com and get signed up. You can use credit card, PayPal, Bitcoin, BTC. It's your choice. Once again, ampamp.freetalklive.com. Let's go to Turd Ferguson on the line. He's on our Discord on-air call-in line. Go ahead, Turd Ferguson. And you're calling, by the way, from Pennsylvania.
Yeah, Shrewsbury, Pennsylvania,
Welcome.
Actually. Yeah, am I loud enough right now?
You're fine.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it was just my headphones. Yeah.
No, you're good.
Yeah, good. Yeah, so I'm actually calling about the election yesterday, and it was a pretty sad. It was a pretty sad day for me, like all elections are. But you know,
why so sad?
Well, you know what? I don't know, because it's funny. I always vote for the loser in every single election. You think at this point, like I wouldn't be sad anymore.
Yeah, you should be used to it.
Yeah, I should be at this point.
Yeah, you think you think that's bad? We all run for office every year, and we lose every single time.
That's true. You didn't run this year, Conan, because you're prohibited by some sort of rule.
Yeah, the Hatch Act.
Yeah.
Well, it was funny because I voted for the same guy. Like before I moved to New Hampshire and moved back, I lived in Maryland, and technically I'm still even a resident of Maryland, so that's where I voted, even though I live in Pennsylvania.
All right.
It's just it's this thing that I do because it prevents me from getting it's from being bound to certain legal things and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's cool. But yeah, so I voted for Sean Quinn, who is the gubernatorial candidate. And
is that a libertarian?
He's a libertarian, but here's the thing.
Okay.
I'm bummed out about it because, I've been really super critical of all the libertarian candidates in Maryland, including Arvin Vohra, who I just don't like anyway. But
that's the former vice chairman of the Libertarian Party nationally.
Yeah, and he ran in Maryland for a senator, I believe.
So how did these guys do? Do you happen to have the results handy? The governor guy, what did he get? Do you know?
Yeah. So I actually, before I went to bed,
6%.
Yeah, it was rough. It was pretty rough.
Man, that's even worse than our gubernatorial candidate did here in New Hampshire. I think she got like 1.5%.
Yeah.
Gilletta Jarvis.
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, I've been following it pretty closely. Yeah, but you guys had a way better shot than we did. Gary Johnson had like 15% or something. That was like the highest one I've seen so far.
Is that a three-way race?
Three-way.
He was in.
Yes.
Yeah, that's not bad for a Libertarian.
Now, the thing is, his campaign was doing a bunch of polling showing that he was polling at like 30% and that he was coming in higher than the Republican. And I think it really does a disservice, especially since Libertarians supposedly stand up for, truth, right? Supposedly.
I don't know if that's necessarily true, but I would hope so.
Like most Libertarians, they're like, we've got to stand up for the truth because the media is not going to tell you blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Well, when you wind up putting out fraudulent poll numbers that are basically push polls.
What does that mean? How are they defrauding?
So a push poll is when you do a poll, but you ask a bunch of questions about a specific candidate and then say, if the election were today, would you vote for this person, or this person? Well, they just heard 5 previous questions about a specific candidate, so it
in this case,
sways them towards giving an answer
instead
for
of
that.
Just flat asking straight out first question who you're going to vote for.
Right. So push poll is when you're basically trying to get a certain answer. And when you release those as here's a poll that was done and we polled here, and then your polling numbers come in way lower, then it leads people to believe, well, I can't believe any of the polls because they all lie.
Well, you generally can't believe polls, but because things usually end up slightly differently than what the polls say. But you're saying this was a huge discrepancy.
Right. When you've got a poll showing a candidate polling 32% and another candidate polling 20%, and then those numbers are basically flipped. And then a little skewed. So the Republican wound up polling, I think it was 31%. Gary Johnson got 15%.
Yeah.
But the polls released by the campaign showed basically the opposite.
All right. Continue, Mr. Turd Ferguson.
Well, yeah, I think all polls are really dishonest. And it's like in 2016, everyone thought that Donald Trump becoming president of the United States was impossible. And then, of course, we found out that wasn't the case because the whole time the polls had been incredibly misleading. And if Gary Johnson, that really surprised me that a guy who seems pretty honest like himself would do some dishonest stuff like that. I'm bummed out a little bit about that.
It was his campaign, not him. So the guy that he hires,
he can claim he didn't know anything.
Right. The guy that he hires, Ron Nilsen, to do his campaigns, basically winds up doing these polls because he happens to own the polling company.
Oh, that's handy.
Yeah, Johnson was in the bus smoking weed. I mean, that's what he does. He didn't know. He didn't know what was going on.
Yeah. Okay. Well. I mean, Hillary Clinton probably did with her poll.
But it's worth pointing out that Gary Johnson is the former governor of the very state in which he was running. So, I mean, he had name recognition in a way that your typical libertarian does not have, and yet he only got 15%.
Yep, that's very true.
So he did well for a libertarian in a three-way race.
Right.
But at the same time, everybody knew who he was, so he didn't have the issues of name recognition or anything like that.
Right. He ran into the issue of, well, I would vote for you, but I'm afraid that this other guy's going to win.
Right. Wasted vote syndrome, as it's called. Well, Turd Ferguson, was there any other highlights or lowlights that you wanted to share with us?
I don't know. I'm just bummed out about the whole thing. I primarily put in silly write-in candidates. Like I voted for Robert De Niro and I voted for Al Pacino. I voted for Ben Affleck and Matt Damon a couple times.
Many of those people are not eligible
those are all horrible people.
Well, are any of them eligible to actually wind up taking the office should they somehow magically win?
No,
not likely.
No.
They might. It might result in them bringing the system down faster, which could be a good thing.
Yeah, well, that's
Robert De Niro is going to bring the system down.
Sure, ponies for everyone, like really ponies for everyone, not just joking like Supreme does.
I think you're right about that. Yeah.
Hey, Turd Ferguson, thanks for the call tonight, man. I appreciate it. I know where you're coming from, and I know why people are disappointed because it is frustrating when you think to yourself, oh, these libertarians, they got great ideas. The idea of non-aggression, the idea of peace and liberty, and these are great ideas.
Voluntarism.
But yet, the people of the United States, the people of the various different states within, do not seem to be interested. They don't want to vote for it, which is why I have to reiterate that if you want to have a chance at winning, you gotta concentrate your efforts in one place. There was all this money spent on this guy's campaign in New York, apparently. Larry Sharpe, who had been mentioned by one of the callers here a few times during the campaign season, as though there was also some questionable poll involved with that campaign as well, if I recall correctly. But anyway, they got apparently over $300,000 raised, which is a very large amount of money. I don't think Joletta Jarvis here in New Hampshire even hit $20,000. If she even made it that close to 20,000. So she didn't even get a tenth of what this Larry Sharpe guy got, but they both got 1.5% roughly in their elections.
Difference is Larry Sharpe needed only 50,000 votes statewide to get ballot access,
and he got that.
He got nearly 90,000.
He got that, but he only got 1.5%, and that's about as good as Joletta got,
right?
Or maybe he got 1.6 or something like that. But she spent a tenth of the budget.
He's still done better than any other Libertarian for governor in New York ever.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem, is it's going to give those people hope, Darryl. And now they're going to think, all right, we got ballot access. We're going to win in New York. Well, no, you're not. Nope. New York's the 50th least free state, and you are not going to win in New York. And even if you do win, you're never going to change New York. There's more coming up here in moments. It's Free Talk Live.
Marijuana has unleashed a green gold rush across our nation. It's creating $10.8 billion in new wealth a year. And every day, it's transforming more and more Americans into millionaires. In an historic event, former Speaker of the House John Boehner reveals how you could become one of them. Join him online for the American Cannabis Summit. Attendance is 100% free, but space is limited. To secure your spot, text JOIN to 44055. This event is the first of its kind ever. John Boehner and an esteemed panel will reveal which cannabis stocks are primed to deliver life-changing windfalls in the weeks and months ahead. Plus, they will show you how to become a cannabis angel investor, backing the hottest startups before they potentially become worth billions of dollars. To join American Cannabis Summit, text JOIN to 44055. Attendance is free. Text JOIN to 44055.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Temporarily from Concord in the Shire, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, November 7th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.68 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,232 per ounce. Zen is trading at $15, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,532. Antiwar.com reports as Saudi-backed forces continue attacks across Yemen, the Saudi military is trying to support them with airstrikes and artillery fire. As has so often been the case over the course of this war, Saudi strikes hit civilian targets, killing at least 5. The larger of the 2 attacks took place in the northern Sada province, where Saudi-backed forces tried to cross the border, and Saudi forces fired rockets and mortars against the border towns. 3 civilians were killed in Tal Hayden village, and 2 more were wounded. Meanwhile, in the aid port of Hodeida, an airstrike hit and destroyed a civilian home in the evening, killing a man and his wife, according to hospital officials. Their 10-year-old child was wounded but expected to survive. Saudi officials have not addressed either attack nor the civilian casualties inflicted. Neither appears to have had any military purpose, though both were carried out vaguely in the vicinity of combat.
Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They are working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform. The unique spelling of Horizon is a nod to their heritage and recognizes that they remain committed to the vision that their project was built upon. Their coin and ticker symbol remain ZEN. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community. HORIZEN.global.
Reuters reports the Girl Scouts of the United States of America filed a trademark infringement lawsuit against the Boy Scouts of America on Tuesday after the Boy Scouts decided to drop the word boy from its namesake program and started welcoming girls. The lawsuit in Manhattan federal court is an attempt by the Girl Scouts, founded in 1912, to avert an erosion of its brand and membership as the Boy Scouts, founded 2 years earlier, tries to reverse its own decades-long membership decline. It was filed after the Boy Scouts, which accepts children 11 to 17 years old, said in May it would change its name to Scouts BSA in February 2019 and make girls eligible to earn its highest rank, Eagle Scout. The Boy Scouts said in a statement it was reviewing the lawsuit, adding, "We applaud every organization that builds character and leadership in children, including the Girl Scouts of the USA, and believe that there's an opportunity for both organizations to serve girls and boys in our communities." Based in Irving, Texas, the Boy Scouts recently had about 2.28 million members, less than half its peak in the 1970s, while the Girl Scouts, based in Manhattan, said it has about 2 million members. In the complaint, the Girl Scouts said the Boy Scouts have no monopoly over the use of the word scouts and scouting when it offers services to girls. It also said the name change threatens to marginalize Girl Scouts activities and has already sown confusion with families, schools, and communities nationwide being told the organization no longer exists or has merged with the Boy Scouts. The complaint says only GSUSA has the right to use the Girl Scouts and Scouts trademark with leadership development services for girls, and the Boy Scouts infringements are new and uniquely damaging to GSUSA. The Boy Scouts had said its rebranding was part of a single name approach it adopted when it decided in October 2017 to let girls enroll in the Cub Scouts program for children 7 to 10 years old. It has also launched a Scout Me In campaign featuring both boys and girls.
You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com.
UPI reports the Democratic Party was projected to take control of the U.S. House of Representatives, while Republicans maintain control in the Senate in Tuesday's midterm elections. Democrats secured more than a dozen seats and were expected to pick up more than needed to have a majority in the lower chamber, according to projections from NBC News and CNN. House Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi said Tuesday's votes represented a new day in America. She promised accountability and bipartisanship in the Democratic-led House. President Donald Trump called Election Day a tremendous success on Twitter. Heading into the election, Republicans controlled the Senate with 51 seats. Republicans built on their slim Senate majority by several seats and ousted 4 incumbent Democrats. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
If you're one of the many frustrated singles who suffer from online dating fatigue, you might just be in luck. A new dating website launched this week that caters to fed-up men and women who simply want to meet eligible singles with unbroken skin or open sores similar to their own. It's called Last Shot.
If you're one of those people who's just ready to throw your hands up in the air and start a life with someone who has unbroken lesion-free skin, or on the other hand, if you're open to someone who has boils and abscesses similar to your own, Last Shot is perfectly calibrated to your needs.
Boasting a user-friendly interface and affordable dues of $4.99 a month, Last Shot simply asks users to log in, then click yes or no if they have open sores. Within moments, they're connected with hundreds of eligible singles who have comparable skin conditions. Reviews have been overwhelmingly positive. Arcuri hopes to one day introduce an upgraded membership experience, which would allow exasperated singles to filter for specific skin conditions.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. Toll-free number here tonight, 855-450-FREE. We're talking about the Jazzy Cam there during the news break. For those of you who have not yet seen it, the Jazzy girl, who is the studio beast, longtime studio beast from all the way back in the Florida days, she's here in New Hampshire with us now, and enough people bugged me about it, so I finally did create the Jazzy Cam. In fact, I went all in, and I did two Jazzy cams.
Two cams.
So there's two angles. So
you get more. Sometimes you get more Jazzy than you do us, which is not necessarily a bad thing.
Technically, you don't. It's probably about 40% of the time is what you get during the show. And if she does get up and leaves her bed for a period, and if I notice it, I'll turn it off, and then I'll turn it back on when she gets back over there. Anyway, you can see our cam set up. Just go to twitch.lrn.fm. You can watch us there. Twitch.lrn.fm. It's also available on YouTube, but if you want to see Jazzy Cam when Free Talk Live's not on, because sometimes I'll just put her on when we're not on the air during just normal LRN.FM programming, and then it's 100% Jazzy Cam at those times. But you've got to be watching the Twitch channel to see that. That does not appear on YouTube. So go to twitch.lrn.fm and you can follow the Twitch channel there, and you'll get notices whenever we go live, or when Jazzy Cam only goes live, or when some of the other great shows we have on lrn.fm, like Call to Freedom or Questioning Authority. You get all those heads ups. If you sign up over at twitch.lrn.fm, just hit the follow button and you'll be good to go. All right, let's go back into your calls and thoughts. We're doing some level of an election wrap-up here. We haven't even gotten into any of the actual news, the results from here in New Hampshire, which, of course, we're in New Hampshire, and so this is the New Hampshire Freedom Migration. There's been a long time that Libertarians have been coming here because they are rightfully upset. Our last caller on Discord, he was disappointed. He was bummed out. And it's understandable. Libertarians are too spread out. There are not enough of people out there who understand the ideas of liberty. There's not enough of them who are willing to do anything about it. And so when the few of them that are out there try to do something about it, of course they go down in flames, and they never actually end up getting any kind of traction either in the media. They get locked out of the debates. They, don't get any kind of attention from the mainstream media in a lot of places. And, of course, their results are very poor. We can get into more of what happened here in moments. It's Ian, Conan, and Darryl in the studio tonight. Let's go to Stefan. He's in Ohio on our Discord call-in line. Go ahead.
With the results in my state as far as the Libertarian Party goes, I am extremely disappointed, but I feel like the only one that isn't very surprised by it.
Really?
Our gubernatorial nominee got absolutely killed, way more than we thought he was going to.
What was the percentage?
The percentage was 1.8.
Okay, all right.
And the thing was...
That's decent for a Libertarian gubernatorial candidate.
Well, the reason it makes me, a little upset is because I seem to be the only one that was at the Libertarian convention that called that the performance was going to be extremely shoddy. We had the absolute worst candidate in the entire country as far as Libertarian.
Really? Now, why do you say that? Because that's a tough thing to compare.
Well, here's the thing. He doesn't actually stand for anything. He's more like a diet Republican than anything, more than even Gary Johnson and Bill Weld. He's got the, pot-smoking Republican thing down to an absolute T. And the thing is, he doesn't even live in Ohio.
Well, this is part of the problem with the Libertarian Party is that these, let's call them conservative lights, or just full-on conservatives, have been infiltrating the party. And they've been doing it for more than a decade, and they have been watering down the message, and they've been promulgating this idea that, look, guys, you can't be principled. You can't talk about principles. You've got to pander to what people want, and what they want is conservatives and Democrats or whatever. Right?
I was just having that discussion.
You gotta compromise.
Right, you got to water it down. One. And the idea is that if you water down the message, then it'll be more so-called populist or whatever, and then more people will vote for it. But the evidence is that it doesn't actually get any more voters whatsoever, from what I can tell.
Oh, yeah. And the funny thing is, I ran for state rep, for example, earlier this year, and they ended up, tossing me off the ballot because they thought I would hurt their nominee. I'm not kidding. And what was funny is they got frustrated because I talked about Darryl in a positive light. And one of them, I actually have a quote here. As far as Darryl is concerned, I know him and like him, but his strategy is exactly why we don't get anywhere in presidential elections.
His strategy of keeping on message and actually actually talking about the non-aggression principle?
Actually being libertarian. And the thing is, our Green Party candidate, for example, who I supported, was an anarchist. And in many ways was more libertarian than the Libertarian nominee.
That's sad.
And the reason this result from Travis Irvine is so disappointing is because National spent hundreds of thousands of dollars to get ballot access again. And as said, I think you remember that I ran for governor and my strategy was completely different, you know. So, and the worst part is we had a bunch of state rep candidates that weren't me. They disqualified another one for some stupid reason too, and their most popular candidate got like 2% of the vote.
It's pathetic.
It is pathetic.
And this is, by the way, been going on ever since I've been involved in the libertarian movement. Ever since I was a teenager in Florida in the late 1990s, the libertarians were getting the same results: 2%, 3%. If you really did good, you got 3%. But 2%, 1%, 2% was more of like your typical range, and nothing's really changed in all that time except for now there's a migration. There's the opportunity for libertarians to come together into one geographic area to concentrate their efforts to become an actual formidable force in the world of politics.
Right, but again, as I mentioned earlier, the vast majority work within the Republican Party and then tell the libertarians that are running as libertarians that we're destroying the Republicans because we're stealing their votes. And I've even had Republicans tell me that the Libertarian Party shouldn't even exist. We should not run candidates.
Well, everybody's entitled to their opinion, Darryl, and not everybody's
and I'm entitled to say that they're a-holes.
Sure, but not everybody's going to agree on strategy. And I didn't say that they would all move here and join the Libertarian Party, but even if we've got, and look, you're never going to convince them all to join the Libertarian Party, and they're never going to convince...
I don't want 90% of them anywhere near the Libertarian Party.
So then stop bitching about it then, at this point.
No, the thing is, these Liberty Republicans that are in the legislature, when given the opportunity to ease ballot access, to change the election laws to where it's easier for libertarians and Greens and independents to actually run for office, they wind up voting against it, and they tell me in the hallway the Libertarian Party needs to cease existing. We all need to become Republicans because that's the only way that elections work.
Well, it's a ridiculous position. Go ahead, Stefan.
Well, I was about to comment on that. That's something I hear a lot. Because, you know, there's a lot of Democrats, for example, who are saying, no, don't go to the Green Party, stay here and let's get some progressives in office. And, you know, they've gotten a few victories for some progressive-leaning Democrats. And I've heard people over on the Libertarian side say, we need to do that, but we need to do it with the Republicans. Yeah, Austin, how'd that work out for you in Missouri? You know, a lot of libertarians that end up, you know, going into the Republican Party, like what you had in New Hampshire and, again, Austin Peterson in Missouri, have failed miserably, and I just don't understand why people think it's a viable strategy.
Well, but plus it's also, I'd like to address this myth that it's somehow, you know, libertarians are only pulling votes from Republican candidates. I'm sorry, it's false.
Right.
There's been enough polling done to show that libertarians actually, not only do they pull from both Republican and Democrats, but they also pull from the undeclared voters. They pull from the non-party affiliateds. They pull in new voters who've never been registered to vote before in their lives. So there's a whole bunch of different types of people who are going to vote for a libertarian.
And that's
if
the
they're
voting
actually
bloc.
a principled libertarian, if they're actually out there talking about the non-aggression principle rather than pandering to one particular political side or another. Yeah, if you've got a libertarian who sounds like he just walked out of the Republican Party, then yeah, I'll give you the claim that libertarian, so-called, might actually pull some Republican votes. But if you've got a libertarian who's staying true to principle, who's talking about the non-aggression principle, the idea that it's not okay to use aggressive force to get your way in life, then that person's going to pull from all over the place. Hey, thanks, Stefan, for your call here tonight. Hopefully you'll be giving up on Ohio.
Give it up. Come here. Join the cult.
Stay here and let's get some...
Oops, sorry about that. That was my bad.
Join the cult.
Well, it's not really a cult because there's not really a charismatic
there's
leader.
no leader.
There's more coming up here in moments. You can join us on the radio. Election Results Night here on Free Talk Live.
From the first letter of Captain Mark. History is full of flowery documents claiming to limit the power of the crown, but these poetic social contracts have been impotent to prevent the predation. Limited government is a lie they use to keep us submissive. The Crown cannot be trusted to abide by its founding charters, nor its treaties, nor even its own rules. The essence of the Crown is centralized violence, and I've had enough. That's why I raised my black banner. I am no revolutionary. My aim is not to reset the cycle of violence, but to break it. My aim is an evolved society, invisible to the Crown, not a new hierarchy, but decentralized networks with no central figure for the Crown to target. If you want your servile life, keep it, but we will not submit to the Crown's agenda. And when you are ready to stop being its beast of burden, ready for adventure and opportunity, join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
Homemakers. Groceries by mail ships free. Try our amazing bacon. It stores in your pantry. No refrigeration required. Our value-added packaging provides a 10-year shelf life and protects the leanest, thickest center-cut, fully cooked bacon in America today. Ready to eat right from the pouch or warm and serve. Always priced less than grocery for your everyday use. Savory and delicious. Order today at readytoeatbacon.com. readytoeatbacon.com.
Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity.
The warning signs.
At first, he made me feel special. He promised he'd look after me, provide for my future. He broke every promise he made.
Millions of Americans afflicted.
I was ready to leave, but he told me he'd change. So I gave him another chance. I was such a fool.
The consequences.
Things only got worse. He started making my decisions for me. About my job, my kids' education, my money, my safety, my future. He took away my choices, but I kept going back to the same politicians.
The diagnosis? Battered voter syndrome.
I fell for the same old lies. They were just playing with my emotions, telling me what I wanted to hear. That's not right.
If you're tired of the two-party system but want to support a principled Libertarian Party, check out the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire at lpnh.org. That's lpnh.org.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
I don't know where the music bed is, but we're here. The toll-free number, if you want to join us, is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've also got the Discord on-air call-in line room over at discord.lrn.fm. And that's where, actually, there's more than one room over there. That's where you can join us and sound almost like you're sitting in the studio. So feel free to do that. Get on the air with us here. We're doing an election recap and focusing, of course, on the Libertarians and inevitably how poor they've done around the country. We've heard from somebody in Pennsylvania, another person in Ohio, griping about how miserable of results their candidates got and how bad the candidates were. That they weren't particularly principled, that they, sounded like they were Republican light or something like that. And boy, there are a few things more frustrating, I think, to a principled libertarian than watching an unprincipled libertarian get up and represent the political party. Oh, sorry, Conan, try that again.
That does not do us well.
No, but it happens all over the place.
Hey, Glenn Beck, Bill Maher, both of them say they're libertarians.
They have at one time, at the very least, yeah.
Oh, yeah, and it's like that doesn't help us. It's like those guys are the least. They're not even close.
But at least they're not running for, political office.
Yeah, but they have huge audiences.
Sure. But you can't control that, right? At least with a political party, you could have some semblance of control. You could run somebody against the unprincipled person, and then maybe that somebody who's principled could get enough votes in a primary to actually be on the ballot. Unfortunately, in New Hampshire this year, Gilletta Jarvis, very nice lady. I like her a lot personally. She's not a principled libertarian, and even her opponent wasn't either, from what I could tell in the primary. So there were two libertarians who ran. And from what I could tell, the Keene Sentinel, the newspaper here in this area, in their article that they wrote endorsing the Democrat for governor here in New Hampshire, they actually addressed Gilletta, and they pointed out the Keene Sentinel knew she wasn't a real libertarian. Now, I think that's a really interesting development, because what it shows is that the media around here has learned what a real libertarian sounds like.
Oh, that's all they hear about.
Well, right. But the thing is, they're not ignorant to it, right? They can't claim to be ignorant. They've made it clear, hey, lady, we know what a real libertarian sounds like, and you don't sound like a real libertarian. That's basically what they said in their newspaper article. So, if they can figure it out, of course, people who are paying attention to politics can figure it out as well.
No one is paying close attention to politics unless it's from their favorite news outlet. And it's being fed to them, spoon-fed to them.
Well, somebody was at whatever speeches she went to give speeches at, and she was at the Cannabis Fest a couple of times, and somebody was at whatever they were listening to, whatever radio interviews she was being interviewed on, and she doesn't when she's not taking a pure liberty position, she's not being a libertarian, and I think that hurts us. I really do. Now, of course, the challenge
maybe that's why she only got 1.5% or whatever it was.
That's what I think. I think if you actually had a libertarian out there, at the very least, if they were purporting the ideas of liberty, the non-aggression principle, if they were communicating those effectively, at least then we'd know. At least then we'd be able to say, oh, okay, this was an actual principled libertarian candidate, and they only got 2%.
Right,
but we don't have that.
Well, and going back to talk about these, liberty Republicans, I heard a lot of them say, well, I'm just going to vote for Sununu because he signed the decrim.
Even though he's against
I'm not going to vote for the Libertarian because the Democrat might win and the Republican signed decrim.
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating.
These liberty Republicans fear the Democratic Party more than they like liberty.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. That's what Christopher Cantwell told me. He told me he voted for the Republicans, a straight ticket, unless there were no Republicans, in which case then he voted for the Libertarians. So you did get Chris Cantwell's vote, according to him, Darryl.
I don't know if I should be happy or ashamed.
Let's go to Bad Slave in New Hampshire. You're on Free Talk Live, and you're watching us on our Twitch feed at twitch.lrn.fm. Go ahead.
Hi.
Hey, you're on the air.
Right, Bad Slave here.
Yes, sir.
And hi, Ian, Darryl, and Conan. Thank you for taking my call.
Yes, go ahead with your point.
I am calling to say, to ask you guys a question, and I'll answer the question as well.
All right.
What is more important, or what would be more effective as a use of activism? A Free Talk Live pro-liberty call, an effective pro-liberty call onto the radio with you guys, or a vote, a ballot submitted, anywhere in New Hampshire.
That's a tough question because they're both pretty ineffective. I mean, whether or not somebody calls Free Talk Live is not going to make much of a difference because if you're not on the phone, we're still going to talk about liberty. So, the liberty content doesn't go up or down based on whether or not somebody calls in. And similarly, a vote is also ineffective because it doesn't really matter that much.
I have to challenge that, Ian, because I think that your show is better when the calls come in than when they don't. Okay?
It depends.
So
it depends on who the caller is.
A measurable, to me, there's a measurable comparison there. So
okay. Well, you wanted my opinion, and there you have it. Conan, Darryl, do either of you want to weigh in?
I guess I would say it depends on the audience of the show. If you've
He's talking about Free Talk Live.
Yeah, if you've got I think
you're better off calling a different talk show with a pro-liberty viewpoint, because then you're changing their topic to liberty for just a moment, whereas we're always talking about liberty.
Yeah, I know this show is being heard all over the country.
I actually do that.
But I'm thinking if this call was actually being recorded and listened to on like a local station here in New Hampshire, where the people are actually voting on candidates that you might be talking about, liberty candidates that you might be, in favor of, I think that is a more favorable phone call to a radio station. Unlike this, is being heard all over the country, and it's not really as important.
Yeah, I don't really know.
Okay. There you go, Bad Slave.
Thanks, Darryl.
Thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate it. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE, like freedom. I like what Dave Ridley does from RidleyReport.com. He makes a point. He's got a schedule, and he calls talk radio across New Hampshire. He's got like a database of every talk radio station and every local talk show that is on the air on that talk station. So he's not calling during Rush Limbaugh.
And he's not even in New Hampshire, by the way. He's in Vermont.
Ridley?
He's been in Vermont for
the heck you talking about? He's living in Winchester.
I'm not so sure about that.
Well, as of 2 weeks ago,
he goes to Colorado for a few months a year.
Yeah, to visit his family. I just sent him we just emailed within the last 2 weeks, Conan. So unless he just moved there this week, he's not in Vermont.
Well, I hear him often, and yeah, he'll come in on the radio, and sometimes it sounds like he'll break the conversation. Like he wasn't even listening.
He's never listening.
Because
he doesn't listen to the shows.
Because he just picked the phone up and went straight into his point, and it's always a really good point. And he's like, hey, talk show radio host guy, what do you think about this?
Yeah, and he nails it.
And sometimes he'll change the flavor of the conversation for the rest of the hour.
And that's where you have a real impact. If you're a Liberty caller, hey, we love it when you call Free Talk Live. Don't get me wrong, I love callers. That's why I have an open phone show. Because I do want to hear from you and interact with you, but if you have to pick one or the other, call the local show and give them a hard time about liberty. We're going up here. It's Free Talk Live.
What if there was a social media network only for the conservative?
What if there was a social media network not only for the conservative right general public, but also a platform for conservative politicians and advertisers?
And what if the social media network was the only free speech network in existence?
There is. It's rightsocial.net.
Rightsocial.net, a response to President Donald Trump's direct presidential order.
Rightsocial.net, where you have the right to freely speak your mind.
Rightsocial.net, the right place to be.
Why is the black man black and the white man white? God said, mansaid.com. The Sons of God and Science admits a ghost species. The amazing power of going to church. God said, mansaid.com. Dinosaurs and man contemporaneously. You possess the world's greatest treasure. God said, mansaid.com. Sin bones, St. Peter's fish, hours of text and streaming audio. God said, mansaid.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell, they send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It is Free Talk Live. You can dial toll-free and take control of the airwaves here. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. 855-450-3733. We've got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms. Just head on over to discord.lrn.fm. Your property and your family are precious. You can protect them with the Blink home security system. We've got it right here at the LRN.FM studios. Mark's got it at his house, and it works very well. And it's actually surprisingly affordable considering the quality that you're getting. They've got motion-activated HD wireless cameras, which means the setup is super fast because there's no wires. You don't have to deal with running wires through walls or hanging them wherever, and it's just so much easier to use a wireless camera. So go to blinkprotect.com/FTL, and you can get your Blink camera system starting at less than $100. Blinkprotect.com/FTL. No contracts, no subscriptions, and Blink works with Alexa. That's because Amazon thought Blink was such a great product, they bought the company. So go to blinkprotect.com/FTL. And of course, you can configure these cameras to run when you want them to. Maybe you want them on while you're at work. Maybe you want them on during the overnight hours or whenever. You can have them send you video clips, which do include audio, by the way. Sending those video clips to your device of choice, wherever it is that you are in the world. As long as you've got internet connection, you will see what's going on at home or maybe your small office. Check them out over at blinkprotect.com/FTL. Blinkprotect.com/FTL, like Free Talk Live. Let's go to your calls and thoughts. Sarah in New Mexico, you're on Free Talk Live with Ian, Conan, and Darryl.
Yes, so this election, that we have the most women elected to Congress ever.
The most what?
Women?
Oh, women.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, women are actually, women congresswomen, but, we have the
Yes,
most
Nancy
number,
Pelosi's been in there for a really long time, and she is a woman.
So what is the relevance of this?
Well, the thing is, I'm proud that our state, New Mexico, we're going to be sending 2 women to Washington. But the thing is, we're still counting the absentee ballots of District 2. So they got 8,000 more to count. So, I told them
but
to
why
run
is
in
this?
and-
Why does this matter to you? I mean, does it make you feel good that women can also be sociopaths and tell lies and steal things?
what does that have to do with what does it have to do with women running for Congress?
Because politicians are sociopaths who lie to people, and they wind up passing laws that are backed by force that steal money from other people to pay for things that you like.
Right, and it doesn't matter what gender they happen to be.
Well, it's the thing is that more and more women these days are actually moving into these fields, these offices. It's kind of a sad state of affairs for the human condition when our women are becoming just as violent as the men.
You know, the thing is, I have my opinion. You know, the women came out and voted for women candidates because remember we only got the right to vote like only 80 years ago.
Are you saying women are that shallow, the women that you know, because I don't believe that's true of all women, but are you saying the women that you know are so shallow that they would vote for a candidate simply because it's a woman?
Well, no. I mean, that's a second. That's irrelevant.
Okay, because it sounded like that's what you were saying just a moment ago. Maybe I misunderstood you.
That is what it sounded like she was saying. Is that women will vote for women just because they're women.
No, if we had an opportunity, let's say I'm a Democrat. There was a male Democrat and a woman. I would definitely vote for a woman because we were suppressed. You know, we remember just like the blacks and the natives that we had.
So wait. You just said if it were a Democrat versus a Democrat, meaning in a primary,
yes,
and there was a female versus a male Democrat, you'd ignore their opinions, and you would choose the woman.
So whoever will do the best job, but I would like to give an opportunity to a woman. I would like to favor the women judges because they're going to be looking out for the women's interest. You know, like I would like them to pass.
So you wouldn't do it, but you would do it. Basically, is what you're saying. You.
So my first preference is their accomplishments, what they have done for for city of Albuquerque, for people in general. But I know that if I vote for a woman, they would get after the human traffickers, the pimps, and they would favor laws for women.
So what Sarah is saying is first is first. Free things, and then if she's a woman, go for the woman.
Thanks for the call, Sarah. Toll-free number tonight, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We did have a woman on the ballot here as a Libertarian. Her name was Gilletta. She got about 1.5% of the vote. So
there were more than one woman on the ballot as Libertarians. You're talking about for governor.
Yeah, that's what I meant, for governor. There were a handful, I think, in the state house and Senate races as well.
Plus trans woman running for sheriff.
Aria. Yeah, I meant to mention that. So Aria, who's a host of a different talk show on LRN.FM, she's one of the hosts of Call to Freedom. She threw in her hat a little late in the game because she actually didn't get into New Hampshire until late in the game.
Right.
She moved, I think, in August. She moved in June, but she settled in August and decided she wanted to run. And the Libertarian Party nominated her sort of after the primary and threw her into the sheriff's race here. And she got a decent amount of press, I would say, considering how late to the game she was with the campaign. She ended up doing better than any other three-way Libertarian race in this region. She got 2.4%. And did virtually no campaigning as far as, I don't think there were any campaign signs or anything like that. So she kind of approached it like I did, where all I did was respond to inquiries. So if there was a questionnaire that came in from an interest group, I'd write, fill out my answers and send it back to them. If I got a media request, I would follow up with that and do that. But
well, considering that the other two options were men, do you think she got the woman vote? You think all the Sarahs in the region were like, yeah?
There are more than 2.4% of voters in this county are women.
I know. Yes, I know this, Darryl.
Yeah, so she did actually, all things considered, pretty well. Considering that she was late to the game and a Libertarian and trans. So, that was interesting. And she took very principled positions. So unlike some of these Libertarian candidates, Aria actually was very principled. And so kudos to her for that.
She's the only one talking about the true reason the opiate crisis is affecting us the way that it is.
The war on drugs.
And it's because of the war on drugs.
Yeah, and she was on message on that very consistently. I hope that she's going to run again in 2 years so she can actually be in for the entire race.
Yeah, I was only hoping that message, the fact that she was bringing that up, would have spurred conversation with the other two knuckleheads who are only about enforcing it. They're only going to go to town on it as much as getting that grant money from the state and from the feds to get more bulletproof vests and more Bearcats to fight so that they can deliver their warrants to the homes with their rifles and their Bearcats.
So the more actual libertarians we can get to migrate here as part of the New Hampshire Freedom Migration, the bigger our pool of potential candidates will be.
Yes.
And hopefully that will result in a larger pool of potential candidates.
Volunteers.
Who are volunteers, but who are actual principled candidates.
Right.
And then maybe we can get more volunteers more excited, and maybe people will actually pay attention because they'll be hearing something actually different from the Libertarians rather than some watered-down talking points candidates that some of them were, sadly. But anyway, so it is what it is. We're still new here, by the way.
But by the way, having said that, the local radio guy here in Keene loved Gilletta Jarvis.
Really? Okay.
He spoke about her often.
That's good.
Every morning.
He didn't bother to interview anybody else. Apparently.
And that's what I was getting at. So her watered down message actually won him over.
Mm-hmm.
However, the hardcore libertarians who actually live here and have lived here for many, many years.
Yep.
He gives us grief all the time because he says, you know what he says? He says our message is just a little too bitter. He says, why don't we add a little more honey to our message? Why do you always want to rock the boat? That's what he says about us.
Well, if he actually had any of us on, maybe he would have heard some honey in our messages.
I think he knows exactly what we would talk about in the government.
Yeah, but every year this guy has, until this year, has had all the candidates on.
Yep.
This year, he didn't have any of the local candidates on. More coming up here in moments. It's Free Talk Live.
And not to mention the shedding, I would vacuum the carpet 3 times a week. Frodo was scratching all night long, bouncing on the side of the bed, keeping me awake the whole entire night from all the scratching and chewing. It kind of makes you neurotic.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy?
Mounds and mounds of fur all over the place.
Come to Dinovite for help.
DINOVITE.com. If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
Dinovite is nutrition.
The omega-3 fatty acids.
Flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa.
Our vitamins and enzymes replace the nutrients cooked out of most commercial dog foods.
He gobbles it up. He's not up all night scratching. His shedding is minimal, and it is such a pleasure to have my calm, relaxed, non-shedding puppy back. And I have to thank Dinovite for that.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dinovite for help.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000. DINOVITE.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Bitcoin.com wants you to know about SaveItPurse.com. Since launching in 2014, over 200,000 users have saved an average of 15% for a combined $4 million using Bitcoin, or BTC. And now you can use Bitcoin Cash, BCH, to fund your account. You can save between 5 to 33% on things you're going to buy anyway when you shop using SaveItPurse.com. Add items to your cart, fund your account, select your discount, and save. SaveItPurse.com. Save ATPurse.com.
Most of you know that
If you're looking for work, or even if you're not, here's an innocent mistake you really want to avoid. Never return calls before listening to your voicemail. Your wireless phone sends calls you didn't answer into voicemail, and it shows you phone numbers for calls you missed. Important, don't call back callers you missed until you have first listened to your messages. Otherwise, you frustrate people who bothered to leave messages by asking them to repeat a message they just left as your voicemail greeting instructed them to. If you're a job applicant, this alone could be a deal killer. And even if you're not, there are few things you can convey to someone that are as fundamentally maddening as, "I didn't hear you." With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. For more tips for job seekers and everyone else, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You dial toll free if you want to join us here. Our number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We've also got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms. Just head on over to discord.lrn.fm. I would say we've had more calls on Discord tonight than we've had on the regular phones. And they've all sounded great because you sound almost like you're sitting in the studio with us if you get on those Discord lines. We're going to one of them coming up here shortly. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Conan.
And Darryl.
Also, want to make sure you know about Bitcoin.com. It is an excellent website where you can learn about the basics of Bitcoin. We are in the midst of the 10th anniversary. Bitcoin turning 10. It started on October 31st.
Yes.
And arguably it ends on, I think the celebration should last from October 31st all the way through January 3rd, because January 3rd is when, October 31st is when Satoshi Nakamoto released the white paper. January 3rd is when the actual code was released to the world. And so that's the whole process, and it's been an amazing 10 years. Go to Bitcoin.com and get started on your process of learning about Bitcoin and what makes it so important. Bitcoin.com. It's a great site. As we continue here, we'll take your calls and thoughts about what you want, but it's been mostly election-related talk from a libertarian perspective, libertarian results or the lack thereof. We go to Free Market Penguin on the line in Virginia. You're on Free Talk Live on the Discord on-air call-in line rooms. Hello, Penguin. Oops, my bad. We got you now. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, Mortified Penguin, aka Free Market Penguin.
Yes,
Free Market Penguin show coming soon. Really fired up about today's topic, and basically, I've been thinking about this. This is exactly what I've been thinking about, wanting to call about since election and before the election. So my biggest rant, I actually went on a little bit of a Discord rant earlier today. My idea of not my idea of the liberty movement, but the popular image of the liberty movement and kind of what's getting put out there is, and it's a really widespread and diverse movement. But what's being put out there is that libertarians are like this far right fringe type of Republican, kind of kooky Republican. Some of them are more just Republicans that like weed and hate cops. All kinds of, some of them don't hate cops even, but all kinds of kind of a far right or kooky conspiracy theory, kind of like a hoarding silver and kind of a conservative-ish group that likes, low taxes, no laws, no welfare.
And don't forget cryptocurrencies.
And that's not now it's cryptocurrencies, yeah. And I've just discovered that there's a huge diversity in the actual libertarian spectrum and liberty sphere, and obviously that's not really what comes off of this show or other shows that you guys are friends with that I've actually found through LRN.fm and elsewhere. So the idea is that a lot of still a lot of libertarians kind of have this sympathy for Republicans or feel closer to Republicans than Democrats, and I think they're just as far, if not farther, from Republicans than Democrats. I'm not sure which. I can't tell you exactly, but I mean the idea that if you are sympathizing with them on social issues or the culture war, you're just a fool. You're just being brainwashed like the rest of them. Whatever. You're not principled. But if you think that the Republican talking point, the conservative agenda of small government it's completely incongruous to the libertarian idea of small and no government. It's not the same. They don't mean the same thing. They mean
Republicans aren't interested in small government, really. I mean, at least the ones at the national level are interested in the Republican government. They're interested in a government where their programs
it's small government, except for
walls, blah blah blah. Yeah,
and then they have a really long list.
Yep, and like
military.
Yep.
What do you mean you want to cut the military budget by a penny? We got to increase it by billions of dollars.
You're just like Obama. We need to spend another $100 billion a year.
There was a thing that came out a couple days ago. U.S. government still right now spends more on the U.S. military than the next 12 countries combined.
Yep.
It had been like the next 5 or 6. Now it's the next 12.
Yeah, I mean, it's frustrating, free market penguin. How did things go in Virginia for you?
I have no idea.
You sound like me when I was waking up this morning. I didn't even turn my computer on to look at the results. I cared.
No, I followed the radio results all night, and I don't think the Senate candidate, which was the only one that had the U.S. Senate, was the only one that had a Libertarian candidate. It wasn't in play. It wasn't close. It wasn't like, I guess Tim Kaine was going to keep it no matter what. He's Tim Kaine, and I haven't heard any reporting whatsoever, but I haven't watched the local news or tuned into the local news at all either. So I don't know. But obviously,
well, needless to say, you weren't excited by whatever libertarian campaigns there were because you didn't even care enough to look.
Well, I voted for him, but like I said, nobody's reported anything about it. I don't know. But what I do want to say is, the Republicans and the conservatives, they're disingenuous to their own message about small government. But it's not, regardless, from the get-go, it's not the small government. The liberty movement needs to unite around, anti-authoritarianism. Of course, there's a lot of people with that. But to end the imperialism, in the bombing of other countries, the murder of people around the world, it needs to stop. Nobody outright will support it. So it needs to stop. It needs to stop. It needs to stop putting the troops in harm's way. It needs to be able to truly cut taxes, not just divert them from, we don't want welfare, we want bombs. I mean, that's ridiculous. How can you stand for that? I don't know, but there's a party that does. And the liberty movement needs to be the resistance to that, the resistance to, excessive and ultimately all taxation, the resistance to these burdensome financial relations, and ending the Fed. We can everybody can honestly, this principle that has an idea of how the economy and monetary system works, wants to end these things, wants to end the control of the banking investor class over us. We might disagree on the small points, but we all need to unite and not fool ourselves that anybody in the mainstream has any semblance of similarity to our views and our positions.
And that is the problem. Because, I mean, we could win the Democrats over real quick, like when we talk about it's in the wars. Let's bring our troops home. Let's stop bombing innocent people. But as soon as you start talking about, no, forget that free healthcare crap, forget that free college crap, you lose them. You lost them already. And it's the same thing with the Republicans. It's like, hey, we need to cut spending everywhere. And they're like, you mean the police? You mean the border wall? You mean the military budget? You lose them immediately. You can't win any of these knuckleheads, and it's all about power.
Well,
they want the power. They want the power to decide how the money is spent. And the libertarians are like, you know what? No, I want the people. I want the individual to have the power to decide how he wants to live his life and spend his own damn money, and not have some overseer, some master, on the other side of the globe making decisions on my behalf.
Well, the good news is, at least here in New Hampshire, the majority of the voters aren't Democrats or Republicans. They're what's called the undeclareds.
It's a plurality, not majority.
Plurality, but enough to win a damn election.
Yes.
Well, the beauty of what Conan said, Conan's little speech. I like what you just said, and the beauty of it is that can be fundamentally from a libertarian or anarchist perspective. I personally can word what you said in a left or appealing to left message and a right and appealing to right message, to a general liberty message. It can be sold to all.
Yeah.
But people have to realize that basically what you said, that these things are not good for society. And
well, the libertarians can do a very good job of cloaking their message in the kind of the dressings of the other political party people to whom they might be speaking.
Talking in political slang.
Right. I mean, you can still tell them a very libertarian message, but you can put it in a way that they can understand it better. But that requires them to be able to listen to you in the first place. And if the media is going to ignore you just because you're a libertarian, then it doesn't matter what comes out of your mouth.
And by the way, I'm not so sure about that. When you find a good example of a libertarian who can talk political slang and win both sides over, show them to me. And I'll tell you that
we can do it here on Free Talk Live.
They don't exist.
We do it all the time here on Free Talk Live.
No, we don't. We talk black and white. It's either wrong or it's right.
No, I'm not saying you're. No. What I'm saying is there are ways you can communicate an issue to a person on one side or the other side of it. So the war on drugs.
You can explain things to both Republicans and Democrats. Not you can say it's both right and wrong simultaneously.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying you need to lie. I'm not saying lie to try to pander. I'm saying if you're talking about the war on drugs with a liberal, then you can tell them about how you own your body and that, that you should be left alone because it's your body, it's your choice. If you're talking to a conservative, you say, hey, this war on drugs has been a failure financially. The money has been thrown down a rat hole. It's been set on fire. It hasn't gotten, any traction. It hasn't actually succeeded at its goals. You can couch the libertarian issue in ways that these other people can understand.
And it makes complete sense to me, and I love it. But I'm telling you, it doesn't actually. You do not reach the ears of these people with that message. It just doesn't make sense to them.
Yeah, you do if they're listening.
All they think about is who's going to be in control.
Well, some people are that way, Conan,
who's going to be in control of
people on this show.
We can't have this guy who doesn't actually want to be in control and who actually wants to end government.
We have had people on this show, listen to what we've said and say, you know what, you guys are making good points. It has happened. I know where you're coming from. There's more coming up here. Thanks, Penguin. It's Free Talk Live.
Marijuana has unleashed a green gold rush across our nation. It's creating $10.8 billion in new wealth a year. And every day, it's transforming more and more Americans into millionaires. In an historic event, former Speaker of the House John Boehner reveals how you could become one of them. Join him online for the American Cannabis Summit. Attendance is 100% free, but space is limited. To secure your spot, text JOIN to 44055. This event is the first of its kind ever. John Boehner and an esteemed panel will reveal which cannabis stocks are primed to deliver life-changing windfalls in the weeks and months ahead. Plus, they will show you how to become a cannabis angel investor, backing the hottest startups before they potentially become worth billions of dollars. To join American Cannabis Summit, text JOIN to 44055. Attendance is free. Text JOIN to 44055.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. The LRN.FM's social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Temporarily from Concord in the Shire, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, November 7th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.68 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,232 per ounce. Zen is trading at $15, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,532. Antiwar.com reports as Saudi-backed forces continue attacks across Yemen, the Saudi military is trying to support them with airstrikes and artillery fire. As has so often been the case over the course of this war, Saudi strikes hit civilian targets, killing at least 5. The larger of the two attacks took place in the northern Sada province, where Saudi-backed forces tried to cross the border, and Saudi forces fired rockets and mortars against the border towns. 3 civilians were killed in Tal Hayden village, and 2 more were wounded. Meanwhile, in the aid port of Hodeida, an airstrike hit and destroyed a civilian home in the evening, killing a man and his wife, according to hospital officials. Their 10-year-old child was wounded but expected to survive. Saudi officials have not addressed either attack nor the civilian casualties inflicted. Neither appears to have had any military purpose, though both were carried out vaguely in the vicinity of combat.
Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They are working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform. The unique spelling of Horizon is a nod to their heritage and recognizes that they remain committed to the vision that their project was built upon. Their coin and ticker symbol remain ZEN. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community. HORIZEN.global.
Reuters reports the Girl Scouts of the United States of America filed a trademark infringement lawsuit against the Boy Scouts of America on Tuesday after the Boy Scouts decided to drop the word boy from its namesake program and started welcoming girls. The lawsuit in Manhattan federal court is an attempt by the Girl Scouts, founded in 1912, to avert an erosion of its brand and membership as the Boy Scouts, founded 2 years earlier, tries to reverse its own decades-long membership decline. It was filed after the Boy Scouts, which accepts children 11 to 17 years old, said in May it would change its name to Scouts BSA in February 2019 and make girls eligible to earn its highest rank, Eagle Scout. The Boy Scouts said in a statement it was reviewing the lawsuit, adding, "We applaud every organization that builds character and leadership in children, including the Girl Scouts of the USA, and believe that there's an opportunity for both organizations to serve girls and boys in our communities." Based in Irving, Texas, the Boy Scouts recently had about 2.28 million members, less than half its peak in the 1970s, while the Girl Scouts, based in Manhattan, said it has about 2 million members. In the complaint, the Girl Scouts said the Boy Scouts have no monopoly over the use of the word scouts and scouting when it offers services to girls. It also said the name change threatens to marginalize Girl Scouts activities and has already sown confusion with families, schools, and communities nationwide being told the organization no longer exists or has merged with the Boy Scouts. The complaint says only GS USA has the right to use the Girl Scouts and Scouts trademark with leadership development services for girls, and the Boy Scouts infringements are new and uniquely damaging to GS USA. The Boy Scouts had said its rebranding was part of a single name approach it adopted when it decided in October 2017 to let girls enroll in the Cub Scouts program for children 7 to 10 years old. It has also launched a Scout Me In campaign featuring both boys and girls.
You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com.
UPI reports the Democratic Party was projected to take control of the U.S. House of Representatives while Republicans maintain control in the Senate in Tuesday's midterm elections. Democrats secured more than a dozen seats and were expected to pick up more than needed to have a majority in the lower chamber, according to projections from NBC News and CNN. House Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi said Tuesday's votes represented a new day in America. She promised accountability and bipartisanship in the Democratic-led House. President Donald Trump called Election Day a tremendous success on Twitter. Heading into the election, Republicans controlled the Senate with 51 seats. Republicans built on their slim Senate majority by several seats and ousted 4 incumbent Democrats. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Shortly after having sexual intercourse with a prostitute earlier this afternoon, local man Jacob Reynolds told reporters that he never expected the experience would bring him to new heights of emotional and spiritual fulfillment.
I was convinced that having sex with a complete stranger behind my wife's back would leave me feeling drained and empty on the inside, but my self-esteem is through the roof.
Reynolds, who said he paid $150 for a 30-minute block of time, said that his moderate expectations for the encounter were instantly surpassed by what turned out to be a deeply personal sexual communion that transported him to a new plane of emotional intimacy.
I've never felt a stronger sense of spiritual connection. When our bodies met, there was an immediate sense of familiarity and comfort that just washed over me. I think it was the most meaningful experience of my life.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It is Free Talk Live. We're launching into the third hour of the program, doing some election nights or election recap, post-election recap here.
Venting. We are venting
That's
on
happening
the results.
To a lot of our callers tonight, frustrated, as libertarians are always frustrated by the piss-poor results to their candidates around the United States. And, of course, as always, we point out, hey, if you want to have success, maybe you should try a new strategy. Instead of doing the exact same thing every 2 or 4 years over and over again and then wondering why it's not working because you're doing the exact same thing every 2 or 4 years over and over again, here's a hint.
Vote with your feet.
Yeah. Migrate to a place which has a larger concentration of libertarians per capita than any other place on the planet. Well, wait, you might object. You might say, well, wait a minute. You guys say it's so great there in New Hampshire, but your candidate only got 1.5% as well. Well, look, the reality is when we got here, the Libertarian Party was in dismal shape. It was one of the worst organized, one of the worst Libertarian parties in the entire United States. And yet New Hampshire is one of the most free places. So obviously the Libertarian Party doesn't really have anything to do with how free New Hampshire is. But Darryl, you took over the party a few years ago now with Roger Paxton, and you guys breathed some new life into the party. You actually answered some emails. You actually cashed some checks that were sitting there waiting that the previous chairman hadn't even opened, hadn't even looked at, apparently. So, like, you took an entire dropped ball, you picked up that dropped ball, and you made something out of it. Now, it also happened to kind of be a perfect storm, it seemed like, because at the same time, nationally, you guys were gearing up, the Libertarian Party right at around the same time the 2016 election was getting rolling. And, of course, people hate Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. And so it's my belief that the Libertarians and the Greens benefited, like, not just on the presidential level, but all levels. I think all Libertarian candidates benefited from the fact that people hated the Republicans and the Democrats so much because of Trump and Hillary in that one election. That's why what was ultimately a pretty lame-o Libertarian candidate for governor here in New Hampshire, who ultimately was really just a Republican, why he ended up getting 4%.
He went back to
the Republican Party,
being a Republican, and ran for state rep as a Republican.
He was unremarkable as a candidate. I don't think he made any real campaign appearances, and that's probably for the best.
Yes.
But he was on the ballot. He was a choice besides the Republicans and Democrats, and so he magically got more than 4%.
Yes.
When the Libertarians had not done that in New Hampshire for 20-something years prior to that.
Yes.
So you had this sort of perfect storm of you guys were building the party back up. This candidate happened during Trump/Hillary. That got the party ballot access here in 2018, which meant that there were a whole bunch of Libertarian candidates this year for people to vote on, which is great. And that means more Libertarians got some more press than they otherwise would have, which was great. We had a primary, which was, again, more press that we otherwise would not have received. So those were all good things. Unfortunately, it didn't amount to more than 4% of a vote for the gubernatorial candidate this time around, who was arguably a much better candidate than the one we had in 2016. Like, there's no reason why, given one comparison to the other, the other one, that the current candidate, Gilletta, who again got about 1.5% this time around, there's no reason why she should have done as poorly, except for the fact that 2016 must have been a fluke. It was a total fluke. And so
I saw
this year you had the blue and the red wave, and everyone was afraid that their party was going to lose power.
Well, that's always how it is.
And so you might have had guys 2 years ago who did vote Libertarian because
they didn't care.
Right. So 2 years ago there was the
that
anti-establishment. I saw a post just a little bit ago in, I think it was the LP chair email list that I'm still on because I was former state chair, where somebody was saying that basically across the board, statewide LP candidates did 1.5% to 3% worse than they did 2 years ago.
1.5% to 3%. Wait. Do you mean, because we got to make sure the math's clear on this, do you mean that their vote totals was only 1% less, or are you talking about percentage points? They're 1.5% to 3%.
Percentage point. So,
okay.
Say 2 years ago, candidate for U.S. Senate in fill-in-the-blank state got 3%. This year, candidate
2%.
got 1.5% to 2%.
Yeah. So, Darryl, since you've been closely involved with the Libertarian Party of New Hampshire over the last several years, do you think that's correct? That analysis is pretty accurate?
2016, in my opinion, was a fluke.
Yeah. So, what would you say to those people out there who are like, well, why should we move to New Hampshire? We just got ballot access in New York.
New York is the 50th freest state in accordance with ratings from Cato.
The 57th.
If you want to try to become California, then yeah, by all means, stay in New York.
You mean get to number 49?
Yeah, if you want to try to improve your number by half, because that's the difference between 49 and 50.
It's a big difference.
California could double its worstness and still be 49th.
Yeah.
So if you want to try to become California on the East Coast, then yeah, by all means, stay in New York.
Yeah. So let's go to the phones. We do have Tom on the line. He's in New Hampshire. Tom, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's about losing ballot access here in New Hampshire because the Libertarian candidate for governor didn't get enough votes.
That's happened, by the way. Yeah, thank you for pointing that out. If we didn't make that clear before, yes, because the Libertarian candidate did not get 4%, that means the Libertarian Party no longer has its ballot access that it had for this year.
Would it get us on any stupid debates anyways in the next 2 years? Probably not.
Anyway, yeah, probably not, and it doesn't do any good to have ballot access if we let other people stampede down to the polls in larger numbers and keep voting wrong and then forcing their will on the rest of us. Now, as far as consent,
are you talking about the primaries, how the primaries are state-run primaries for the Libertarian Party, but they should be privately run within the party instead?
No, I'm talking about the general election where, I went down and voted for Gilletta Jarvis, but all these other people went out and voted wrong. And see, if we let them impose their governor on us, then that's how it doesn't do any good to have ballot access if they're going to keep voting wrong. You can't fix crazy. Now, let me point something out about the idea of consent. I've been accused of being to blame for the unjust laws that I'm complaining about because, you elect the people that pass these laws. And I said, that's an outrageous accusation. Then they, whether you voted, it was in the year 2000 or 2001, either if you voted for Bush or Gore, either way you voted for candidates who don't want to legalize drugs. Mm-hmm. Either I voted for them or I didn't vote, which is by acquiescence of letting the other people decide for me, and they omit the large other possibility, maybe I voted against them, and then I was blamed for wasting my vote on somebody who couldn't possibly win. And is a good quote from a Supreme Court ruling called New Jersey versus Delaware, 1934, about how these two states have been arguing over the boundary line for so long that New Jersey's claim that Delaware has consented or acquiesced in New Jersey's occupation over the disputed zone is absurd. Quote, if a record such as this makes out a title by acquiescence, one is somewhat at a loss to know how protest would be shown, unquote. And, the way that people are protesting against the government and the government's malicious wrongdoing is so much. They're doing so much of it. It's like absurd to say that the victims of the unjust laws are to blame, even though many of them do fail to vote. But to suggest that it's our fault that the other candidates won is totally absurd.
That's ridiculous.
We did not consent to that. And there's going to be a growing awareness, of course, that, in Maryland, the slaves were freed by using ballots. In Virginia, meanwhile, the slaves were freed by using bullets.
Tom, thanks for the call tonight. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. I don't think violence is the solution, but I understand people's frustrations. We do want freedom, and it doesn't seem like most Americans care.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynavite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynavite.
Dynavite for life.
Pick up 2 tubes of Doggo Suds.
Get the 3rd tube free.
Peppermint, tea tree, lavender, Doggo Sud shampoo.
Made with all-natural coconut, jojoba, aloe. Great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
But no itchy, harsh chemicals.
Lather up, rinse away.
Try Doggo Suds. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynavite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
In these uncertain times, it makes sense to have a sustainable backup method to cook food and boil water. If your current plan includes using a fuel-burning stove or cooking over an open fire, then there's a much better way. The Minuteman Rocket Stove is a biomass-burning cooking stove that only requires small quantities of sticks and twigs for fuel. The Minuteman Stove is easy to use, smokeless, portable, powerful, and sustainable. For the finest in survival cooking stoves and fire starters made right here in the USA, go to MinutemanStove.com. That's MinutemanStove.com.
For P150, P150GA, P150NY, P150OK, P150TN, C250A, C250E, C250Q. Not available in all states. If New York or Colorado, call for a similar offer.
What's the scariest thing about going to the dentist? Opening your mouth or opening your wallet? Because just a simple cleaning can cost $150, and things like root canals can cost you hundreds more. If you don't have dental insurance to help, call Physicians Mutual Insurance Company. 1-800-656-4683.
Free Talk Live.
Our education system is frankly government-run, government-funded, and we're dumbed down.
You could go down the laundry list of the different things that people would admit that the government did wrong or botched up or cost way too much, and it still doesn't have any effect on them. They still just bounce right back and say, well, we need government to do all these things. Well, yes, they make some mistakes. Yes, they spend billions of dollars too much. Sure, they kill innocent people around the world, but we need them.
We have to have them do these things.
I find it quite amazing that, they say the first thing they seem to do is, turn to government. They've got the solution somehow.
Yeah.
Goodness knows they
That's
haven't.
what they've been programmed to do by the government schools.
Exactly. Brainwashed. Absolutely brainwashed. And they're so dumb about it, they believe it's the case. However, you then ask the next question, if you dare to, is you say, would you trust any politicians? And the first answer is no way.
Right.
Free Talk Live. 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Should you be able to earn an honest living free from senseless government interference? The Institute for Justice thinks so. That's why we've spent years defending hard-working men and women from pointless government regulations. Nationwide, IJ has created opportunity by reducing government power. But there is still more work to be done. Visit our website today at ij.org. Let IJ take care of the government so you can take care of your business.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Hello, Free Talk Live. That's some different music right there. I don't know what's going on at the network studios, but that was different. Anyway, here we are with the toll-free number you can call in. The number is 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. And also, we've got the Discord on-air call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Conan.
And Darryl.
And hey, don't forget, speaking of Discord, that's our chat server. And there are people in there at all times, basically, of the day and the night. It's free for you to use. So, again, go to discord.lrn.fm. It helps if you have the Discord app, which is a free app, and that's available what they call cross-platform. So whether you're on a Windows or a Linux or a Mac, there's a Discord for all of those. There's also Discord for Android and iOS devices. So you can have it on whatever operating system you're probably using right now, and whatever operating system you might be using later on. Check it out over at discord.lrn.fm. It's a lot of fun. There's people in there talking right now, and they'll probably be there through the night and tomorrow. There's all kinds of folks. And it's global. We got people as far away as Australia in our Discord server. So discord.lrn.fm. Conan, you've got a story you wanted to share about the success story of all the failures, because pretty much all the Libertarian candidates failed, as you know, that's typical for most of the country. There was a lady in Wyoming, I think, who got close in a two-way race.
Lost by 52 votes after like a box was mysteriously found of 500 absentee votes, and she wound up losing by 52.
She was in a two-way race, so that helps a lot when you're in a two-way race if you want to have a chance at winning as a Libertarian. But there was a guy, Brandon Finney, who was one of the Republicans who had flipped during his tenure as a state representative in 2017. He flipped from Republican to Libertarian.
Yeah, we had a Democrat here in Keene who did the same.
Correct.
Except we didn't get to see what happened this year because I guess he graduated, he moved.
Yeah, so he had to resign from his seat. But there were two Republicans who had also flipped to Libertarian. Brandon Finney was one of them, and Reason.com wrote a piece about this.
Right. Matt Welch over at Reason dropped this article last evening, late, like after the results came in. Until tonight, Brandon Finney was a model for one genre of elected Libertarian, the party switcher. The New Hampshire state representative elected to the 400-member body, we get second largest on the globe, I believe. Second or third?
I heard it's the third largest.
Below the national level. It's, as I understand it, the largest sub-national legislative body in the English world.
Okay.
In 2016, he was elected as a Republican. And then he switched to Libertarian in June 2017 after watching the machinery of allegedly small government republicanism up close. I saw, quote, how they wanted to spend our money, he recalled to me in an interview this summer, and that immediately set off every flag imaginable. He targeted archaic laws to be stricken from the books, helped effectively legalize visiting bans, drinking beer on stage, and prepped for his first election wearing the L right there on his sweater. You don't remember that?
No,
the cool, one where bands and dancers are not considered they're not considered employees for the purposes of certain laws, which were intended to basically make sure that bartenders don't get drunk on the job.
Okay.
So when
they exempted them from that, basically.
Right. So prior to this passing, if say Metallica was playing at a bar somewhere,
they could get arrested for drinking.
Yes.
So that changed. All right, let's go on.
With a win tonight, Finney could demonstrate that the most libertarian among Republicans can safely switch to the more ideological, simpatico, smaller party and still protect a seat. Other major party politicians surely would take note in these polarizing times. Finney did not win, however. He got
10%.
He got trounced. After 2 years of voting to protect personal freedom, control spending, provide transparency, And after 2 years of proposing legislation to do the same with 2 bills as a prime sponsor signed into law, Finney wrote on his Facebook page, "My district rewarded me with 377 votes. It got more bitter from there. As the incumbent state representative who is capable of thinking for himself, isn't a brainless pawn for a political party, and works very hard for all New Hampshire residents, this election sent me the message that they do not want that kind of representation. The Democratic candidate who barely campaigned received 1,548 votes. The Republican who did nothing but put out yard signs received 1,720 votes. I received 377.
It's tough.
In another post, Finney complained that voters care more about party than literally anything else, and that's the biggest problem in this country. The Republican victor is going to be just another pawn for the party, going along with whatever they say. We're still waiting to hear on Finney's fellow New Hampshire State Rep party switcher Caleb Dyer.
Also lost with 1% of the votes.
Lost horribly.
The only person he beat was the other Libertarian in his race.
Yes, and I know when I was looking at the results last night, WMUR apparently had some numbers backwards and messed up. So at the time, it looked like that district is now a split district, meaning that some of the reps are Republicans, others are Democrats, but those numbers could have
Republican,
been...
didn't it?
I don't know.
Okay.
That's why I said those numbers could have been corrected because, several of the results that WMUR was showing, they had higher totals for some people than what should have been.
Now, when you consider our ballot and the way that it is easily set up for party voting, it's just every party has its own column, and you just go straight down the line, tick, 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 tick. And the fact that we're talking about, another 5,000, 6,000, 10,000 Libertarians moving to New Hampshire, that'll help everything. But will it? I mean, as long as you have this party vote for the party mentality.
Right, and the only reason that we have that ballot in New Hampshire is because we've had the same Secretary of State since 1976, and he opposes changing the form of the ballot.
But I mean, even if you were to remove those columns and just put people's, because I would like to see just names
without the party,
no R or D next to them.
Well, that would make a difference.
Just names, except what would happen is you'd have little old grandmas coming into the city clerk's office on Mondays like, I didn't know who to vote for. I didn't know who my party was because you didn't have in the columns and it didn't have the D next to the name.
So it'd be like the legislature in Nebraska where it's nonpartisan officially, but everybody knows who's the R and who's the D.
Not everybody knows.
If they don't, I don't want them voting.
Right? There's no way everybody knows because a lot of people don't pay close enough attention.
I didn't know
That's why they go in there and they look for the party.
I didn't know who
they don't know.
Darryl, I didn't know who some of the Libertarians were.
Right, but no, I'm saying in Nebraska, it is common knowledge which of the nonpartisan senators are Republicans and which one are Democrats.
Okay. I mean, I'll take your word for it, but I don't believe that it's that common. I think plenty of people go into the voting polls and they have no idea who the candidates are. They just know what party they were born into, and that's who they're going to vote for, and they look for the party.
There are also some people that don't know that Donald Trump's the president. They have no clue what party he's affiliated with.
I bet you it's a significant portion of voters who do not know half the candidates on the ballot and which party they would be in if you took away the party names from the ballot. But you can reorganize the ballot however you want. If the party names are still on there, they're just going to zero in on whatever those names are, and they're going to vote for their party. It's Free Talk Live.
Hear that? That's the sound of a house being trashed while a gang of thieves ransack the place. And what they don't steal will be destroyed.
This year, resolve not to be the next victim of a break-in. Go to faketv.com and discover a device that creates the illusion someone inside is watching TV, even when you're miles away. Security is a mindset, and Fake TV should be part of your security solution. Be vigilant, but not fearful. faketv.com.
Dragons swallow evolution in one gulp. GodSaidManSaid.com. The Sons of God and Science admits a ghost species. The amazing power of going to church. GodSaidManSaid.com. Dinosaurs and man contemporaneously? You possess the world's greatest treasure. GodSaidManSaid.com. Life after death experiences, sin bones, St. Peter's fish, hours of text and streaming audio. GodSaidManSaid.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks used some of its money to drop bombs, I wouldn't shop there. So why would I support the American empire? The empire does not require my consent.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com. That's victimlesscrimespree.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free. Bring up what you want here. We're doing an election recap, talking about the dismal results of the Libertarians around the country and reminding Libertarians if you want to try something new, if you want to actually have some success, you got to try concentrating your activism. Go to move.shiresociety.com. You can learn a little bit more about moving to New Hampshire there. Or actually, I'd probably recommend you go to 101reasonsfilm.com. You can watch a great hour-long documentary on the 101 Reasons Why Liberty is already better in New Hampshire. It's already a more free place. If you just make the move here, you increase your freedom generally. But because we have the largest concentration of libertarian activists anywhere, we've actually seen some major success. So even though the Libertarians themselves, as party members, did not do particularly well at this election, it's still relatively early in the life cycle of this new Libertarian Party here that was basically sort of reformed from dust a few years ago. And beyond that, a bunch of Libertarians did get elected. They just happened to run as Republicans. And I don't know if any of them ran as Democrats this time around, because Amanda Bolden used to be a Libertarian, but then she got corrupted by the system, and now she's not Libertarian anymore. But she won her re-election, for what that's worth, as a Democrat. So Libertarians here have had much more success running as Republicans and Democrats, and I know that makes Darryl angry, so we'll address that coming up here in moments. But
what makes me angry...
No, we've got your girlfriend on the line. You don't want to keep her in a cold back room, do you? Because she's in the back room right now.
I don't keep her in a back room.
Well, that's where she is right now, because she's in the house, so we don't want to have echo, and so she very kindly has, on her own, gone to the back room. So let's bring Jackie on the line
Is
here.
it like a wardrobe? Like C.S. Lewis wardrobe?
She's wearing a robe. I know that much is true. Jackie, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Hello, the call is coming from inside the house.
Yes, it is.
Specifically the mud room.
As they call them up here, yes.
Yes. So I'm calling because I actually spent a lot of time volunteering on Brandon Finney's campaign, and I would say his loss was just sheer partisanship.
Yeah.
Everybody I talked to that was one of his constituents who knew who he was happy with him. I didn't see anything from either of his opponents. I actually thought until like election night that the people running in the other district were the people he was running against, because those were the only signs in literature I saw were for 11, whereas he was, and so his opponents did nothing, and people just voted for them because they were in the right column. They had the right letter. They were on the right team.
It's the right letter. You can reorganize the ballot as long as R and D is next to somebody else's name. They're gonna win.
Yep.
Until there's some sort of major shift in public awareness and desire for libertarianism.
But even saying that, our city council, they're elected, and it's supposed to be a completely nonpartisan election. There is no letters anywhere.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's just names on a ballot, and yet only the Democrats get elected.
That's not true.
There's
the mayor is a Republican.
One Republican, and he was running against a Yahoo. And
no, he wasn't. The guy who won, the Republican who won here. Actually, there's a couple of Republicans who won. There was George Hansel, I think is his name, but he's not a particularly freedom-friendly one. There's one freedom-friendly Republican, mostly here in Keene. His name's Bob, and he ran a successful campaign, not against some Yahoo. He ran against the most politically successful Democrat on the city council, a guy named Jim Duffy, who had been winning and just dominating. He ran in the at-large once, and he just knocked the other candidates down with his vote total.
Well, that was before my time. I never thought he did that well. I thought
Jim Duffy?
I thought he was just kind of in between.
I was surprised he beat Jim Duffy, and the way he did it was he went door to door and knocked on doors
on Republican doors,
on Republican and undeclared voters.
Undeclared. He was specifically targeting people that I was able to identify as conservative that voted in the last state election, but not the previous municipal.
Right. So he had a plan, and he executed that plan, and he won his first time running against this major opponent. And he had tried to run in the past, but I think it was at large or something like that, to where it wasn't the same race. So this first race that he ran in this particular area of Keene, New Hampshire, a very heavily liberal leftist town, he was actually able to win. So it can be done. He proved it. But regardless, Jackie, any further comments? Your phone connection's a little janky all the way back there.
Yeah, I don't think the Wi-Fi reaches this far. I do think that the party column makes a difference, because when I voted absentee last week before heading out to help Brandon, it was very easy to vote a straight libertarian ticket. And that's kind of when my heart sank, because if it's that easy to vote a straight libertarian ticket, it's that easy to vote a Democrat and Republican ticket. And having, recently moved here from Virginia, it was significantly easier to find and vote for all the candidates from my party than to have to consider them one race at a time and actually think about the individuals running and maybe go, oh, hey, Brandon
reorganizing.
Finney, know that guy.
I'm not against reorganizing the ballot. I mean, by all means, change the ballot around. There's certainly improvements that can be made, but to think that that's all of a sudden going to lead to the Libertarians winning, that's just not going to be the crux. But Jackie, thank you for the call. I appreciate hearing from you tonight. We might get you on a little bit later on this week on Friday night, if all goes well, as another co-host opportunity for Jackie, Darryl's moved-in girlfriend now here, and turns out she's actually pretty good on the radio. So toll-free number here if you want to join us, 855-450-FREE, and she's very experienced when it comes to Libertarian Party activism. So, and this is it. If you're an experienced Libertarian, or even if you're an inexperienced Libertarian, you come here, you add your talents, you add your abilities to the
soup cult,
to the mix. And it makes us all better. Does that mean the Libertarians are all of a sudden going to win after you show up? No. Probably not. Because I do agree that it's partisanship all the way, which leads to the issue of the question, which is to see.
I think the best thing that could be brought to the table, to the soup, is the conversation and the
about
about how to handle the situation. Where does the money go? How does the money get spent? Maybe the money shouldn't be taken from the people in the first place.
No doubt. But here's what I wanted to ask. Are the Libertarians who are running as the other parties, most of them seem to be running as Republicans. There have been a handful that have done Democrat. Are they onto something? As much as Darryl hates it, you know, the race in which Caleb Dyer, who was one of the the Republicans who flipped to Libertarian, who then ran as an incumbent and lost badly. He lost worse than all the Democrats lost in that race. So Republicans won that race. It was like an 11-seat district.
Yeah, it's the largest district anywhere in the country.
So it all went red, and as it had previously. That's how he got in the first time. He was the last place Republican among all the Republicans. Now he was last place below all the 11 Republicans and all the 11 Democrats. He was below all that. You know, should he have not flipped parties to Libertarian? Should he have stayed as a Republican so he could actually stay in office?
I think people should do whatever their principles, say that they should do. And if you're so committed to just getting elected and you don't give two dog turds about, principles of liberty.
Well, wait, can't you get elected with principles?
Let me finish my statement. If there are people that they only care about getting elected and they don't give two dog turds about anything other than getting elected, which is why...
I'm not talking about those people.
They're getting elected as Republicans and claiming to be libertarians.
Yeah, but what if they...
A lot of the liberty-friendly Republicans only care about getting elected, and they are not going to do anything. You're asking if they should stay Republicans
or join...
Libertarians.
I'm talking about the ones who are actual libertarians who are getting elected as Republicans.
The liberty-friendly Republicans, that when there are bills that would actually promote liberty and make... voting rights easier, they vote against it.
Right, you brought that up earlier.
They care more about their party and getting elected.
Are you saying all of the Libertarians who've run as Republicans do that?
Every person that was endorsed by the NHLA voted to restrict voting rights in the state of New Hampshire.
So, wait, what about Caleb Dyer, the Libertarian? Did he vote to restrict voting rights?
Talking about the Republicans.
Okay, gotcha.
All of the Republicans that are endorsed by the NHLA, these supposed liberty Republicans, they vote to restrict voting rights. They vote against ballot fairness.
Okay.
While claiming to support liberty.
So you have valid critiques.
They care more about their party than they care about liberty.
Okay,
I don't want them anywhere near my party.
You're not answering my question.
I thought I was.
Okay, you have valid critiques of these candidates or these people who've been elected that you don't like for different reasons. Valid, completely valid. That wasn't what I was asking about. There's more coming up here in moments. This is Free Talk Live. We'll continue. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Do you operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.global, drop your personal crypto wallet addresses on the setup page, and then load the app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now at AnyPay.global. AnyPay.global.
Hearing a lot about CBD these days? Yes, but which CBD products can you trust? Which website can provide proper education about CBD along with high-quality products? The answer? CBDonly.com. CBD, or cannabidiol, is one of hundreds of compounds found in the cannabis plant and one that contains a variety of medicinal benefits. Many doctors are starting to recommend CBD to their patients as an alternative or supplement to some pharmaceutical medications. CBD is becoming widely known to relieve pain, inflammation, and anxiety. Unlike THC that is found in the plant, CBD does not have psychoactive effects. In other words, it does not give the effect of being high. All CBDonly.com products are lab tested to ensure the highest quality standards. Shop CBDonly.com for CBD oils, edibles, vapes, skincare, even CBD for your pets. That's CBDonly.com. And to receive 15% off your order on CBDonly.com, use discount code CBDNOW. Remember, shop for CBD CBD products you can trust. Shop CBDonly.com, your CBD superstore.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Toll House Morsels, helping you create special moments and memories your family will cherish forever. Visit us at tollhouse.com. You may bake for birthdays and holidays, but why stop there? Sweeten up the rest of the year by designating monthly dessert days. Treat your family to one of their favorites or surprise them with something new. Either way, you'll create a tradition everyone will love. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. Moments remain. Maybe enough time for you if you dial in now. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE. Also, the Discord on-air call-in line rooms are open and available to you over at discord.lrn.fm. And if you want to follow what Free Talk Live is doing out there, your best way is probably to subscribe to our email list. Yeah, we're on social media, but if you want to make sure you get the most important news, get it in your email box. Get on our email list. Go to freetalklive.com. You'll find the email box. Sign up there, right there toward the top in the middle of the website at freetalklive.com. It's Ian, Conan, and Darryl in the studio. We go to Joe in Alabama. And Joe, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Yes, before I get started, I want to take a minute to thank Darryl for running and having a great result in New York City Marathon.
Thank you.
He did a good job for the Innocent Project.
Indeed.
And he needs to be patted on the back for that, if you would. But the way
we did that in the first segment of the show. But yes, go ahead.
Okay, I missed that. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
What I called about, though, is some people say I waste my vote when I put in none of the above. But when I don't like nobody, that's what I always do.
Is that an option in Alabama?
They got a write-in space.
Okay.
And so I just checked the write-in and then write in none of the above.
Yeah, the only place where it's listed on the ballot is Nevada, but it's a non-binding option.
Yeah.
So none of the above could get 99.9% of the votes, and there would still be a human that takes office.
Yeah, and that is part of the problem, by the way. If there was actually an option on these ballots where if they didn't get a certain percentage of the vote from the population, or NOTA one, NOTA, none of the above, and then that seat would remain vacant, that would actually be. I think awesome. I think you would see a lot more vacant seats. In this,
yeah. Well, didn't a dead guy just win an election in Nevada?
Exactly, and a lot more dogs. Jazzy could be the next governor of New Hampshire.
No, Jazzy could not be the governor of New Hampshire because New Hampshire law requires that candidates be a registered voter.
I said if. But I mean, yeah, but what if but if it's a write-in, and write-ins could actually win,
candidate must be a registered.
Okay,
voter.
but I'm with you, Joe. All right. If the write-in won, got the majority, but it ended up being a dog, what would happen? Would they still fill it with a human body, or
Yes.
would it remain vacant? All right, that's the problem.
Joe, I'm with you. I think NOTA is a fine form of protest, none of the above. I think that when disgusted by the other candidates, that's a good way to register your disgust.
Yes.
Now, the other question I had was, like, do you have to win by 50%, or can you go ahead if you get 49 because you got 3 parties running?
Yes,
you
it's
go ahead
called
and still
plurality.
take off?
If you can get the plurality of the vote, then you win.
Yeah,
in most
Alabama is
places.
one of the states to where it requires a majority, and if nobody gets over 50%,
really? There's a runoff?
then there's a runoff.
So they have to have a
between-
whole nother election as a
Yeah,
result?
and I think
That's expensive.
Georgia might have to do that for one of their races this year.
Joe, anything else you want to share tonight?
That's it. I thank you so kindly.
Thanks for the call. Appreciate hearing from you. So the question I was trying to ask Darryl, and I'll try to ask it again, maybe I did a poor
Okay.
job of it, is that ignoring your critiques about the current crop of so-called liberty Republicans.
All right.
Okay? Just put those off the table. Ignore all the personalities. Just forget about them.
All right.
The fact is, there are a number of people who are pretty libertarian who've gotten elected to these seats as Republicans and Democrats. Don't forget
Yes.
about that. There's some of them who did it as Democrats as well in New Hampshire.
Yes.
And they did this by taking advantage of the fact that people blindly vote for party, as we've been talking about here so far this hour. That people
Right.
will they don't know who the hell's on their ballot, but they know their mom and dad were Republicans, and so they're going to vote for all Republicans.
Yep. So people that don't have the same principles as I.
Correct. But if that's what gets you in, I'm not saying you should, if you're going to run as a Republican or Democrat, that you should pretend
Right.
like you're one of those
But-
people. That you should, like, if
But
you could run
my
as
principles don't allow me to even say that I am a
I
Republican
don't blame
or
you for
Democrat.
that. I really don't. And I wouldn't want to run as one of those things either. It feels icky to me. That said, I've done it. I've ran as a Democrat before as a governor candidate into the gubernatorial primary, and I used that as an opportunity to talk about voluntarism and peace and liberty, and took at the same
and
exact
unfair ballot access laws.
Yeah, sure. And I took the same exact principled positions that I took as a libertarian when I
Right.
ran this year. So, is there anything inherently wrong with doing those things besides your own personal, opinions?
Besides how
and feelings?
horrible I think the Republican and Democratic Party is, and how I think it's abhorrent to lie to if you aren't actually a Republican or a Democrat.
Well, if I'm registered as a Democrat, then I'm a Democrat. If I'm registered as a Republican, then I'm a Republican. If I'm registered as a Libertarian, I'm a Libertarian. I can be a Libertarian and be in any one of those parties.
And in 2 years, the Libertarian Party isn't even going to be on the ticket. So, I mean, all you have to claim is like, hey, look, my option is one or the other, and I'm here are my...
Hey, Republicans, if you don't want me coming into your party...
I understand all of the reasons why people join the duopoly, but I can't do it.
I'm not
And
asking
I
you
don't
to do
understand
anything.
the question
I'm
that
not-
you're asking.
Yeah, okay. I don't know what else I can ask
but
it.
the
You're
man-
asking me to put aside the fact that I don't like the duopoly to answer the question of, do I support people supporting the duopoly? And the answer is no.
Okay.
Because
So
I don't want the
even though-
duopoly to exist.
So even though Libertarians have gotten elected, Mark Warden, longtime sponsor of this show, who wore an anarcho-capitalist T-shirt when he was in office, this guy is a libertarian, and he's a good one. He actually got reelected this year, which he'd gone for a couple of years, and now he's back in. He ran as a Republican, and that's what got him in, right? Because if he'd run as a Libertarian, he wouldn't have gotten in. I would rather have Mark Warden in than not in, despite all of your opinions about how bad the Republican Party is. Is New Hampshire better or worse off because Mark Warden is in the state legislature?
Okay, so he donned the mantle of republicanism.
It's icky,
right?
No
and
doubt.
The thing is,
but how
on,
often?
on certain things, the party will allow him to vote his conscience. And then other things, if he doesn't want them to challenge him in a primary, he's going to have to vote certain ways. And he knows that.
Well, that's a different question. I'm not saying people should follow whatever party requirements, and if they want to challenge him in a primary, that's fine. At least then he'll have a primary fight, and he can take the positions of liberty, and then who knows how that'll work out.
Probably lose the primary.
Well, I don't know. I'll tell you one thing. Here in Keene, New Hampshire, the Republican Party doesn't really exist, it seems.
Yes.
Like, there was one Republican candidate on the ballot in Keene, New Hampshire,
And
where
he's
we
he's
where
a
we
popular
live.
guy as well.
Yeah, he's the chairman of the party right now, actually. The guy, the
local party.
Yeah, the local party. Now, I don't know if when you say local, if that's the Cheshire County or there's like a Keene one specific. I don't know enough about the
He's not the chair of the state party, is the point that I was making.
The regional county party or whatever. So, I mean, if you wanted to, it actually wouldn't be hard for the Libertarians to take over the entire party apparatus, likely in Cheshire County, and run a straight ticket of Libertarians running as Republicans. Now, we probably wouldn't win either.
Darryl would never talk to that person again.
Well, that's why I'm honestly worried about losing Darryl as a friend here. But you know, I gotta admit, Conan, you and I were talking about this.
Yes,
it's
the
tempting.
duopoly thrives because the duopoly has set up the rules to where it would be the same as if the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Miami Dolphins got to decide who plays in the Super Bowl.
Yeah. It's tempting, isn't it, Conan?
It is. I mean, looking at these results today after yesterday, they are dismal. They are. Why even wake up in the morning so they're so bad?
You act as though you've not seen election results for the last 20 years.
I have, and they're always been this bad.
This bad.
Except 2 years ago when that fluke happened.
Also, it's interesting that I ran a basically zero budget campaign for New Hampshire Senate. It was the first time I'd ever run for that particular seat.
You need more Coke money.
And I rejected, actually. I got a donation from the New Hampshire Liberty Alliance. I sent it back to them. I got a donation from, I forget what the other one was. It was a $300
Economic
check.
Development something.
Yeah, some sort of economic freedom. There was actually...
They sent me a check as well.
It was a bipartisan group. It was Democrats and Republicans.
I bought some yard signs and used... the monies that came in to basically cover the expense of my yard sign.
I sent it back to him saying, look, I'm not taking donations. I don't believe in spending money on politics because I think you're just throwing money down a rat hole. And I'd rather people spend money on better things. And indeed, I didn't spend a dime on anything except for maybe $2 worth of postage to send some questionnaires back. And I spent maybe a few bucks driving around to a couple different campaign events. That's it. This was a $10 campaign, not a single sign. And yet I did better percentage of the vote than the gubernatorial candidate who had signs everywhere, who had appeared on more radio interviews than I did.
But it's also not unusual for down-ticket candidates of minor parties to get higher vote percentages than top of the ticket.
My point is, I didn't do any campaigning. I spent nothing, and I did better than candidates who spent a bunch of time and money campaigning. So I'm not convinced that spending money on campaigns is something anybody who's a libertarian should do. I don't blame people for doing it. But look at this Larry Sharp guy in New York. Spent over $300,000, and he got about the same vote percentage as Joletta Jarvis, who spent less than a tenth of that. We're out of time for tonight. And this is a conversation that obviously is going to continue into the future.
Never ending.
We got more coming up tomorrow. Join us then, freetalklive.com. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveitpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveitpurse.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
The latest episode of Declare Your Independence is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network, LRN.FM.
Temporarily from Concord in the Shire, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Wednesday, November 7th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.68 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,232 per ounce. Zen is trading at $15, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,532. Antiwar.com reports as Saudi-backed forces continue attacks across Yemen, the Saudi military is trying to support them with airstrikes and artillery fire. As has so often been the case over the course of this war, Saudi strikes hit civilian targets, killing at least 5. The larger of the two attacks took place in the northern Sada province, where Saudi-backed forces tried to cross the border, and Saudi forces fired rockets and mortars against the border towns. 3 civilians were killed in Tal Hayden village, and 2 more were wounded. Meanwhile, in the aid port of Hodeidah, an airstrike hit and destroyed a civilian home in the evening, killing a man and his wife, according to hospital officials. Their 10-year-old child was wounded but expected to survive. Saudi officials have not addressed either attack nor the civilian casualties inflicted. Neither appears to have had any military purpose, though both were carried out vaguely in the vicinity of combat.
Zencash has changed their name to Horizon to better represent their transition from a cryptocurrency to a pioneering platform that protects consumer data. They're working towards the day when anyone will be able to build privacy-based applications on the Horizon platform. The unique spelling of Horizon is a nod to their heritage and recognizes that they remain committed to the vision that their project was built upon. Their coin and ticker symbol remain ZEN. Learn more at horizon.global and join the Horizon community. HORIZEN.global.
Reuters reports the Girl Scouts of the United States of America filed a trademark infringement lawsuit against the Boy Scouts of America on Tuesday after the Boy Scouts decided to drop the word boy from its namesake program and started welcoming girls. The lawsuit in Manhattan federal court is an attempt by the Girl Scouts, founded in 1912, to avert an erosion of its brand and membership as the Boy Scouts, founded 2 years earlier, tries to reverse its own decades-long membership decline. It was filed after the Boy Scouts, which accepts children 11 to 17 years old, said in May it would change its name to Scouts BSA in February 2019 and make girls eligible to earn its highest rank, Eagle Scout. The Boy Scouts said in a statement it was reviewing the lawsuit, adding, "We applaud every organization that builds character and leadership in children, including the Girl Scouts of the USA, and believe that there is an opportunity for both organizations to serve girls and boys in our communities." Based in Irving, Texas, the Boy Scouts recently had about 2.28 million members, less than half its peak in the 1970s, while the Girl Scouts, based in Manhattan, said it has about 2 million members. In the complaint, the Girl Scouts said the Boy Scouts have no monopoly over the use of the word scouts and scouting when it offers services to girls. It also said the name change threatens to marginalize Girl Scouts activities and has already sown confusion with families, schools, and communities nationwide being told the organization no longer exists or has merged with the Boy Scouts. The complaint says only GS USA has the right to use the Girl Scouts and Scouts trademark with leadership development services for girls, and the Boy Scouts infringements are new and uniquely damaging to GS USA. The Boy Scouts had said its rebranding was part of a single name approach it adopted when it decided in October 2017 to let girls enroll in the Cub Scouts program for children 7 to 10 years old. It has also launched a Scout Me In campaign featuring both boys and girls.
You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and numerous supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's FANS.fppradio.com.
UPI reports the Democratic Party was projected to take control of the U.S. House of Representatives, while Republicans maintain control in the Senate in Tuesday's midterm elections. Democrats secured more than a dozen seats and were expected to pick up more than needed to have a majority in the lower chamber, according to projections from NBC News and CNN. House Democratic leader Nancy Pelosi said Tuesday's votes represented a new day in America. She promised accountability and bipartisanship in the Democratic-led House. President Donald Trump called Election Day a tremendous success on Twitter. Heading into the election, Republicans controlled the Senate with 51 seats. Republicans built on their slim Senate majority by several seats and ousted 4 incumbent Democrats. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
As of today, the average cost of a pack of cigarettes has gone up to 2 hand jobs and a stick of beef jerky. For more, we go now to Onion News Network prison economics expert Hal Rogan.
The prison economy runs on cigarettes. They're involved in every economic transaction at some stage, from contract killings to naked woman picture acquisition.
Right.
That's why we've got shampoo at 6 batteries. We've got tattoos at 50 commissary stamps.
Now, for what it's really like out there in the market, let's check in with major cigarette trader Big Dap Ramirez. Big Dap, nice to see you again.
Thanks, Rick. Good to see you. What's happening, Hal?
How's it going, Big Dap?
Now, it's obviously a boom time for cigarettes right now.
I'm getting a lot of hand
But with
jobs.
prices this high, analysis shows you're going to be seeing a drop-off in real sales soon as consumers turn to smoking grass fajos.
Look, we've been through this before. The market teaches us not to panic. But if I learn anything in this game, it's that a wife or girlfriend will pass off a few decks in the boneyard. Supply will normalize, and we'll see cigarettes returning to a single hand job or less.
Big Dap, best of luck to you. We'll keep checking in on the story with Hal throughout the day.
Thanks, Rick.
Moving on to some happier news. In Atlanta today, 2 snitches were beaten to death.
This is the Onion News Network.
And now, live from the studios of Freedom's Phoenix, Ernest Hancock.
Believe me when I say we have a difficult time ahead of us. But if we are to be prepared for it, we must first shed our fear of it. I stand here without fear because I remember that I am here not because of the path that lies before me, but because of the path that lies behind me. I remember that for 100 years we have fought these machines. And after a century of war, I remember that which matters most. We are still here!